All right. I think you want to think of the children when you hear that noise. I think I said last time I need to crank that down a little bit. It's deafening when it comes on, but I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I'm going to ask Marty and Brandi, who's joining me tonight. Hello, we're the Three Musketeers tonight, folks.
Hello, everyone.
My favorite candy bar. Mm-mm.
Look at that. I can switch places. There we go. Much better.
Oh, there we go. It's Marty in the middle.
Oh, not Marty in the middle. Brandi in the middle there.
And I'm on Marty in the middle sounded like a good TV show.
Marty in the middle. I like that.
What happens when Malcolm in the middle gets a lot older? You know, Malcolm in the middle turns 60. It's Marty in the middle.
Marty in the middle. Yeah. Not a good show. Not a good show at all. Let's see. So I was looking for the comments. There's this new little gadget that you can add, and it's the little comment. So as soon as someone comments, we'll get to see the little gadget, and it will pop up. I was hoping to have Todd Vaughn on here, and I wanted to talk about his case. We were just talking about him having to give a deposition, and I'm glad we talked about it.
Sorry, I think that was me.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. I was thinking I'm blacking out again. I don't know how many times that can happen.
I was trying to do full screen on my side, so I'm not looking at all the little fiddly bits, and I clicked maximize, and all of a sudden it was just you on the screen. I'm like, oops, clicked the wrong button.
Cool. That's okay. That's okay. I often wonder when you use your screen when we're doing this, if it looks the same as my screen. And I think that about people like Brandi, who's in the green room, the virtual green room, before you come on the show. I wonder what you can see. Because even when I go into the green room myself, I'm still signed in as myself. So it's I don't know.
It's just the screen. Like it, and then there's like a row at the bottom that has some options and windows and stuff.
I wonder if I could put a picture up, like with a cooler with beer and some layout of food. I don't know. I'm just the green room.
Have a virtualized green room with fake food and drinks.
Fake food and drinks. Yeah. Then when we get on the air, how was the green room? And too bad you couldn't, in the back room, they couldn't have you two together, and you could be talking behind the scenes before you go on, I'm just thinking we were talking in the green room. But seriously, Brandi, I love the lights. I love the lights that are going on.
Thank you.
That's absolutely beautiful.
Some mood lighting. We went through all of our stuff. I want that to be like less bright. I'm trying to, get a little. I got a green screen to put up so that I can do my videos and stuff. I thought that would be pretty cool.
Oh, neato.
Yeah, we went through. We went through all of our stuff from. We had stored away, and I got to pull out like all kinds of party lights and mood lights and all kinds of stuff. I'll put them in my office. That'll be fun.
Very good. Very good. Well, before you guys bounced out, we were talking about the deposition of Todd Vaughn, and I'm glad we did, because I was having trouble pronouncing the word. And so, Marty, I want you to tell us, I'll tell you what, let's talk about petitioning, because we've been out petitioning for a while, and I really want to hear some of Brandi's stories since the last time you were on, and on some of the things you've learned petitioning, some of the people you've met petitioning. And so after that, I will go back to the Todd Vaughn case in case he pops on. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but I want to give him some time. And Brandi, we have been out for a while doing that recall COTEC, which you started. You were like the lead here in Coos County on. And of course, we were doing the vote before tolls and the end vote by mail. And it's been pretty cool. I don't know. I showed Marty how many.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
We have how many signatures we have on the petitions, and
every one of those sheets Yeah, every one of those sheets, if it's a full sheet, a full 10 sheet, that is 10 signatures.
10. So
So
this is
you have a fist.
so far
Yeah,
smaller than your guys's, but you guys have 2 petitions, right? And
yeah,
you guys
we're doing all 3. Yeah.
well, yeah, you guys have all. Yeah, okay. Are you giving me all the ones to send back to Bill for the governor?
Um, I can if you want. The other thing I was going to do, I think Michaela is collecting them too, and so I don't know. What would you prefer? Because I've signed them all. I've got them all.
Oh, if you sign, yeah, just go ahead and send them in. That's fine.
Okay,
I just figured I'd double check.
you
Well,
got it.
James, it's a red. It's a sunrise light. It's too red.
I don't
Mm,
think
It's
there's
supposed
any
to be.
problem at all.
It's energizing and uplifting.
yes. It complements your lipstick color. I mean, there you
Oh,
go.
thank you. Thank you.
No, it's a very has a great ambiance. I like it. It's nice. So I don't know, James. I don't know. As Cheryl says, hi people. Hey
Hi,
Cheryl.
Cheryl.
Hello.
Good to see you. I don't know how many people are out there. So we've been out petitioning. You've been out there collecting for the recall of Tina Kotek. What have been some of your most interesting experiences, and what have been your best places to get signatures?
I think each place I go kind of has a little bit different group of people. Uh-oh.
What? Still there.
My screensaver came on.
We can still see it. So
We can still
So this
see
is it's a newish computer, and I'm still like learning how new stuff apparently does things that I wasn't expecting. So each place we go kind of has a little bit different group of people, right? So the farmers market is quite a bit different. Then when we're at like the stock pot, we'll get a different crowd that's coming in. And then we're at
Totally.
Napa, we get a little bit different crowd.
yeah.
And that has been kind of cool, just seeing the different groups of people. It has made me appreciate how important it is to not lump people together. And I think that's something we all kind of need to work on, because even people who want Tina Kotek out, they're not necessarily MAGA people. And I think where we and not all Democrats are like hardcore leftists. And so I think there's actually a ton of middle ground, because there's a lot of Democrats that are really, really unhappy with Tina also. Obviously more conservatives, I think. But what I have discovered through this petition process is that people are, one, way more united, I think, than we are told by mainstream media. And there are way fewer people willing to be nasty in person. I was kind of expecting that we might get harassed, and that would require police involvement. You're actually not legally allowed to harass petitioners, but I kind of expected it, and it just hasn't happened. And that has been really heartening, especially considering what has happened recently.
Yeah.
I think it's time for a zero tolerance for, and I don't want to use the hate speech, but like speech that is intended to motivate people to harm others. I don't know where that line is, but I will say that in person, people have been pretty polite, even if they disagreed with. And I would say that like when we're on location, like when we're somewhere where we've planned to be in a business parking lot or something like that, all the people are coming to us, right? Versus when we're at the farmer's market, it's whoever is at the farmer's market. They're not there for us.
Yeah.
And we're
So
asking everybody.
yeah. Yeah, so I think at the farmers market, we would be more likely to run into people who would disagree with us. And even still, people are super, super respectful. I've had some people ask me to kind of explain what my beef was with her. And when I've and they're very like, tell me, and I don't know what they're expecting me to say. But when I say what I have to say, they always seem very like, well, okay then. And kind of go about their business. But people haven't been nasty. So, and that's not something I like. I'm not very, I don't know. I don't tolerate being treated badly.
Mm.
So I'm glad that there hasn't had to be any of that nonsense. And people have been really positive for the most part. So
Yeah, when we were at the Best Western, I was kind of keeping tabs, and we got over. I think we got like 13 or 14 pages of signatures. So we got well over 100 people showing up and signing, and then we had like three jerks go by, and one person, and it was like the standard, like somebody flipping you off or somebody giving you a thumbs down, and the one guy who I still don't understand what the heck he was doing was yelling out his window, and I'm like going, shades of Sal here, but yelling
he
out his
sounded
window
like a
of his
homeless
car
person
that
screaming.
it's like, so are you supporting pedophiles too? And I'm like, how does any of this come into supporting pedophiles? I mean, like recall Kotek, no, and vote by mail. No,
That's a
stop the toll
deranged thing
roads.
to say.
No, and I'm like,
Uh,
okay. At that point, I'm just like, I laugh, I point, and I walk away.
we were all laughing. Yeah. What was it?
Yeah,
Choke on a bag of you know what? Yeah. It was like, wow. Okay. I'm not sure
choke on
how to
a bag,
take that. Are you
choke
are
on a
you
bag of
making an
Cheetos or
offer?
something. Yeah, but yeah, I
So
mean, so 100 plus signatures and three jerks. I'm like, that's a pretty good ratio. I'm
that's a
fine with
damn
that.
good ratio. And we
But
Yeah.
had
I've also
people
had people come
constantly
up and
coming
are
up.
like, yeah, people will come up and go explain these things. And so I give them the pitch, like this one is they want to do toll roads, stop the tolls. This one is we want to go back to old timey voting, one person in day ID mandatory, or one person in person, 1 day ID mandatory, et cetera, et cetera. And this one is recall the governor. And they're like, oh, yeah, I want to sign all three. Or I'll have people go, oh, I like vote by mail. And I'm like, well, then don't sign it. There you go. Easy peasy. And they expect to get an argument from me, and I'm like, no, if you're not comfortable signing it, don't sign it. I'm fine. I'm here to get signatures. I'm not here to debate. I'm not here to educate. I'm here to get signatures. If you want my opinion on stuff, I'm fine with that. I can talk to you all day and ask anybody. I can talk anybody's ear off, but it's like, no, I'm here to get signatures. If you don't want to sign, then move along. I'm busy
So
here.
yeah, that's what I do. As soon as I ask them if they want to sign the petition and ask them, of course, if they're a registered voter in Oregon. If they ask me, well, tell me why I should or what, yeah, like Brandi, like you said, what is your beef with the governor? It's usually my response is just like Marty had said, I'm not here to debate it. If you want to sign it, this is what it does. It recalls the governor, and I'm just here to get signatures because these people, and I've seen them do this on purpose, they'll go down there and they will intentionally argue with you. And as you're arguing with you, all these people who would sign your petition are walking by you and you're losing out. And I have literally told people, just one moment when they started asking that question and I've walked away from them and got another signature. And
That's
one
sweet.
time this old guy got mad at me, and Mike Shear, who's known for, sometimes knocking the crap out of people, he went up to Mike Shear and he goes, "That guy's supposed to listen to me." And Mike Shear goes, "I don't think he gives a damn." And it was funny. Mike was out there getting petition signatures as well. It's you don't debate these people. It's not worth it. They just take up your time. You're there to get signatures, and that's all you're there to do.
Yeah, I mean, one guy was yelling at me, going, "Well, how are you going to guarantee that I'll be able to vote? I mean, can I get the day off of work and I won't get fired? Can you guarantee that?" And I'm going, "Dude, I can't
Nope.
guarantee anything. I'm collecting signatures for crap's sake. I mean, I am not in the position where I can guarantee you anything. So, if you like the idea, sign it. If you think there's a lot of things that need to be done, don't. I mean, there you go."
I thought this was kind of nice. Phil Taylor says it's like the sunlight is filtering through a tall Shirley Temple, and it kind of that does kind of explain what that looks like. That's very Phil. I think you should start writing a little more. That was
Almost poetic, right?
very
You could be a
poetic.
copywriter, yeah.
I
We
know.
didn't know it that Phil is
Yeah.
a poet.
You
Oh,
didn't
wow.
know it.
You got
Phil,
that rhyme in on
dude.
time. Ooh.
He was getting in
Oh, yeah.
touch with this. With
Yeah, I
himself.
tell people this at the booth all the time. You can sign 1, you can sign 2, you can sign 3, you can get all 3.
Yeah.
No extra charge.
Yeah. Oh, so I got good news.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to be going to Roseburg soon, and I will be getting your cowbell and the signs and the banners and maybe the tablecloth. We'll see. I'll see what she has, and
Yeah.
we'll take what she's got down there, up there, across from here, wherever the hell it is. And yeah, that sounds like a good deal. And I'll have it before Wednesday and Thursday. And I think we need to, the following week, I think we need to do some nighttime, and I think we need to head over to Coquille. And Danessa's really pushing Powers. Like there's a restaurant in Powers she really wants us to go to. And I thought that might be interesting if maybe we took a drive up to Powers. I don't know if you would be up for that, Brandi.
I would, and so I want to say, I have someone we can coordinate up there. Yeah, let me ask. Yeah, that might be a good plan. And I might have someone up there that can help kind of organize people.
Next, what is it? Let me get the date here. It's I believe it's the 27th and the 28th. They're having the Myrtle Point. Oh, there was the Myrtle Point. They were having some event in Myrtle Point. I can't remember the damn name of it. Someone sent me something on that. I've been getting so many emails. I can't keep any of them straight. And so I wanted to have somebody there, but something came up for me, and I don't think I'm going to be able to make it. Do we have anyone in Myrtle Point that's gathering signatures on those 3 petitions? Because a lot of people have asked.
Besides Danessa?
So Danessa is gathering them, right?
Yeah, I think she has them at her store, at the tractor store and appliance store on the south edge of town, isn't it?
Yep.
I know she's got the recall one. Does she have all 3?
That's what I was thinking too. I don't know if she actually has all 3. I don't know why I haven't checked with her before.
Yeah.
We, and it's something that people have always been asking, where can they go and get them? And if we send them to businesses, we can't advertise it. And that's why talking about it, we're not technically advertising it. But you can allow people by word of mouth know where they can go and get signatures. And I think that's one way to handle that, because you have to have somebody observing that petition being signed each time. And that's why I like having several people at the petition booth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we are not doing a commercial for Coos Ag and Appliance on the south end of Myrtle Point. That's right. We are not doing a commercial for Coos Ag and Appliance on the south side of Myrtle Point.
Although we
heard
would.
they have excellent customer service.
They do. Yeah, I would. I mean, and
I want to get a tractor. I just have no use for one. I mean, I'm like, wow, those tractors are really cool, but
we should go in on a tractor.
I have a 2-acre lot. What would I do with it?
I have no idea, but I want one.
Very interested in something like that. My husband wants one so bad, and I keep telling him I'm going to buy him one.
Buy him a tractor.
Yeah.
Buy him a tractor. The coolest thing has happened since the chair of the Republican Party has refused to appoint any new precinct committee people. A lot of people now want to join the party. It's the wildest thing. And I haven't seen anything like it, ever since I've been here in Coos County. It's like, oh, really? You don't want me to belong? Well, now I want to be here. And so that's kind of the attitude people have, is that you're not going to kick me out of here. I pay for your primary. I voted for your president. I'm registered with your party, and I have a right to represent the people here who are not being represented, or someone else does, but you got to start appointing people. And we have now, I want to share this screen. We
33.
now, what'd you say?
Oh, I said I'm just counting the latest update from precinct committee persons that have actually actually filed the paperwork, and we seem to be up to 33 now.
Yep.
How
You're on
cool.
the same page I am, so there we go.
Good job, guys.
And then the 34th is a write-in. Why somebody would at this early date would register as a write-in, I'm not sure, but
Maybe
I mean,
they
I
didn't
had
want their name on the ballot.
okay, but their name is on that page, so okay. Either way, it's fine.
Whatever.
I mean, I had to
Whatever.
I had to do the write-in registration because, like 2 days before the election closed, somebody goes, "You got to be a PCP," and my first response was, "Well, what's that?" And then they explained it, and I said, "Well, we don't have any in precinct 18." And so I filled in the paperwork, but I needed 3 people to, write my name down as a write-in candidate. I don't think anybody knows how to spell my last name, and I'm pretty certain none of my neighbors know my full name. They just know me as Marty or that guy. So, for all I know, a lot of people wrote me in as that guy or Marty.
So, from what I understand, is Danessa has 8 to 10 more to turn in. I'm not sure. I
Nice.
think we saw some more, and I have 2 or 3 more to turn in, and I'm getting more every day. We are Marty and I have been doing a heck of a job. Marty, you've been doing great asking people if they want to
Yeah.
join the party, and I think that's really cool because these are people who are just average Joes coming up to sign the petition. And we'll ask them first, we ask them if they're a registered voter in Oregon, just so they can sign the petition. But then we'll ask them if they're a Republican. If they start to sound really cool, if you start talking to them and you're getting a good read on them and stuff, and they're not driving a Prius like Marty, that would throw me about Marty. I'd go, well,
Driving
he's
a
sounding
Prius and
really
wearing
good.
tie-dye. Yeah, we don't.
Yeah,
We,
man.
Scarlet
we
letter.
don't
I
want in the
know.
Republican Party.
I would totally, Marty, I would be there going, I'm just not sure. So,
That
yeah, but I've met enough very liberal, socially conservative people who are very tie-dye wearing type people too. And when back in the day, and so that doesn't surprise me anymore. But yeah, I would have questioned it if you would have pulled up. So anyone who looks or sounds really good, we're just asking them, hey, you want to be a PCP? And some of them will. A couple of them have said yeah, and some of them have said we'll think about it, we'll look into it. Not most people, but there have been a few.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool because if we get people who've never been involved before, who you tell them all you have to do is just show up to 3 meetings, listen to what's going on at the meeting, and then make a vote, and that vote will determine some really big stuff. And the nice thing is I think because we have the winning argument, if we don't even know these people and we get up there and we make the argument, we win, right?
Yeah, and then we have, the other thing is when I was asking people, yeah, Marty needs a new Prius. Yeah, maybe a cooler one if there is such a thing. But anyway, I was talking with some people, and I was just saying, oh, and we're not trying to take over the Republican Party. We're just trying to put more people into the Republican Party that have common sense, that kind of have the same viewpoint that you and I have. Because after you talk to them for 5-10 minutes, you're like, okay, we kind of agree on a lot of this stuff, and hey, you're up in Hauser. I don't think we have any people up in Hauser. Would you like to be a precinct committee person? And they're like, ooh, that sounds like a great idea, but I'm like sick all the time or whatever. And I said, you only got to show up for 3 meetings, but give it some thought. Really easy to do. Doesn't take a lot of your time, and you get your voice heard at the Coos County Republican Party. And they're like, well, yeah, that's pretty compelling. I'll give it some thought. So, hopefully this will get some more people to, you know, get in here and get going.
I don't think people realize how important it is. They don't realize how important it is to make sure that your party is strong and your party is supporting candidates that really represent their electorate. If the populace isn't participating in some way in the democratic process, they're handing it over to the people who do. And a lot of the people that are in power now don't necessarily have their electorate. It doesn't appear that they have their electorate's best interests in mind.
No, not at
Not
all.
always.
Yeah. I'm not naming names, I'm not pointing fingers, but I think we all know who we're talking about. And there's a short list of three that are currently sort of the sand in the gears of the Coos County Republican Party. That if we had more PCPs, if we had more precinct committee people showing up for meetings, or if they would allow more people to sign up to be a PCP, then things would be different. And
And
it's not
people might
solely,
wonder, like, why is that important? It's important to remember that a lot of donation money that can go to candidates is funneled through political parties. So if you have a political party that no one in the area trusts, they're not going to donate any money. Like no one in this area wants to give money to the people who are right now running the Republican Party. So they haven't raised any funds. What that means is candidates that would be supported by the Republican Party get no support. They have to navigate it all on their own. They have to face criticism all on their own, raise money all on their own. It's almost insurmountable. And so your role as a PCP is what enables competitive candidates to enter the arena. And that competition is what keeps ideas evolving and kind of keeps everybody on their toes, keeps everybody performing as well as they can.
yeah,
And that's the whole thing, is that you're breaking it down to a smaller pool of people who make up the county precincts, and then from the PCPs in both parties, they're supposed to pull poll workers from those parties and bring them into the election cycle to help count the ballots when they're doing hand counting. And that's why you need that pool when you go back to hand counting. If we ever do, I doubt we'll ever see that here in Oregon. It's going to take a revolution to get to that point, but it would be nice if we could see it. And if we get a good county clerk in there, you might actually see some change. But until then, it's just not going to happen. But it still doesn't mean we shouldn't have PCPs ready to go and more active in the party and observing, to sign up to be observer. Brandi, have you ever been an election observer?
I don't think I have. I was pretty involved. I was thinking back to when I did all that stuff in New York. And I think right before, so I worked on the mayoral campaign right after Bloomberg finished his final term. And I worked with a candidate called, his name was Mario Carrion, I believe. And I think I moved right before the actual election, so I didn't get to participate in that part, but they were gearing up for it, getting ready to do that. And we had hand counting and all of that. We had in-person voting and everything. That was New York City, end of 2013.
wow. Yeah, but I mean, just getting a bunch of PCPs. I mean, yeah, I've done election observation. It's odd. I've also done the. I've been at the elections office more than I care to count. But we went to go do election observation, and they basically, the one time I went, they're like, "Oh well, we don't need you now," and I'm like, "Well, you're still counting, so you need somebody in there." And of course, I got turned away. And then another time I showed up and they said, and we're done. And I'm like, you mean you're done? It's like, yeah, we're done. I'm like, oh, okay, fine. So, you know,
Hmm.
but that was back, I think, before they had the and we'll keep counting for 7 days afterward thing going on. So
Yeah, that's not surprising. Uh, so all of this stuff is leading to this is why we're doing these petitions. This is why we're doing end vote by mail, because we want to go back to precinct voting so that the voter list is under the authority, the auspices of the county clerk instead of a collective controlled by the state, and that the people of this county are the ones who are able to count those ballots because they're the ones who are their votes mean the most to them, nobody else. You know what I mean? There's nobody else out there who our votes will mean as much to us. It'll never mean as much of that as it does to us. It will not mean that much to them, and that's why we have to be very particular as who's counting those votes and how those votes are being counted. And we need to bring that back to our level. So our people are doing it. And that's why people have to sign up for PCP. That's the most important reason.
and I'm fully on board with the whole idea of, I think this is going to be incremental changes, a little bit at a time. The one thing I want to get rid of most is voter rolls that are done at the statewide level. The state is they are the collective that does all the voter roll modifications, and then we get the DMV involved, and then we get OHA involved, and
Mm-hmm.
then we get Eric
And they're all
involved.
selling everybody's information too.
That's right. They're selling all our
A lot of
data.
people
And
don't know that.
and Eric is an NGO. Eric is not a government agency. Eric is a non-governmental organization that's getting paid a lot of money, and they get access to all our voter rolls, all our DMV stuff, all our OHA stuff, our Oregon Health Authority stuff. So they're getting access to all our private data. And then what they do is they're supposed to be, their whole purpose was supposed to be, let's say you move from Montana to Oregon, they're supposed to take care of you being registered in Oregon and you being unregistered in Montana. That was what they were supposed to do. What they do now is they have these huge pool of voters that they can use to insert at any time that they want and then pull right back out. So the voter rolls are fluctuating on a daily basis when it comes to election time, because it's like, oh, Joe Blow, our favorite candidate, who's like, getting a whole bunch of money from the unions and kicking a whole bunch of money back to the unions. Well, he's 2,000 votes behind. We need a couple of days to shift some voters and then print out some ballots with their names on them, because these are people that are not going to complain about the fact that somebody voted for them, because they don't exist in our state. They exist in the ERIC system, but they don't exist in our state. So fine, you can vote for these people and they'll never know.
I mean, if you could prove it,
Oh, good luck proving it.
you'd be the $1 million man.
We can't
Yeah.
even we can't even get voter records through the
You know,
normal process. I mean, it's
the
and the
fact,
Taiwan case proves that.
I wish people would stop thinking the government is going to save us. You
It's not.
guys, this
No.
state, do you guys know what the state annual budget is?
No, actually, I
Uh,
don't know for the state.
God, I just looked it up. Wasn't it like 20 something billion? No, I can't. I think it's more than
well, I mean,
that.
if they're trying to get $4.6 billion for ODOT, then the full state budget's got to be well north of that. I mean, ODOT lost $1.1 billion,
Okay.
and they
Listen to
haven't
this, you
figured
guys.
out where it went.
Oregon State's annual budget is $138.9 billion. And this state cannot get our sex offender registry updated.
Well,
Like,
there's a lot of things the state's not doing, except
but that is
laundering
such
money
a
that it
glaring
didn't
one that is
deposit.
like so important to people. I mean, there's so many.
Well,
Registry.
Brandy, at one time they didn't have money to do rape test kits, and they had a backlog. I think it was like a year, maybe even longer than that. That people who had been raped were not getting justice because their test for their rape kit was not getting processed by the government, and only certain certified labs could do this, and they didn't provide the money for this. And once again, it's the sabotage of the justice system. It's just like what happened recently here in Coos County, where they went after a civil defense attorney, one of the attorneys that represents the public defender. That's it, a public defender here in Coos County. I don't know if you guys saw that letter, but it's just absolutely incredible how they have on every level attacked our justice system. If it isn't through the jury system, if it isn't through the penal system, it's through them doing it just like this, and it's disgraceful.
Well, I mean, they've lowered our revenues. It used to be that Coos County was self-sufficient on lumber and fishing and all that good stuff, and they kept removing the ability to do that by saving a spotted owl or saving an albatross or whatever the hell it is they're saving now. Snowy plovers! Oh my God! Save the snowy
Rob,
plovers!
scroll down a little bit on your page that you have up there.
Yeah, the Grants Pass Observer. Yeah, we could read that one, because that's about William Minix.
And
so he's threatens a federal injunction over voter disenfranchisement.
You want me to read the first paragraph of that?
Yeah.
A dispute over recall petition procedures in Oregon has escalated into a looming federal court battle. William Minix, president of Oregon for the People and chief petitioner behind the recall effort targeting Governor Tina Kotek, has formally notified Oregon's Secretary of State Tobias Reed of his intention to seek injunctive relief in federal court. Minix argues that the existing rules for recall petitions are misleading, unconstitutional, and create barriers to voter participation. In a certified letter sent on September 17th, Minix outlines a series of grievances against the state's recall process. He contends that the Oregon Secretary of State's recall manual contains instructions that are inaccurate and discouraging to voters. Specifically, he pointed to guidance printed on the petition cover sheets, which instructs circulators to ask signers whether they are registered in the county or district where the petition is being circulated. According to Minix, that direction misrepresents Oregon law, which allows any registered voter in the state to sign a recall petition for a statewide office regardless of their home county.
So I actually coordinated with several other circulators, and we had a little bit of a disagreement as to how this was interpreted. Yes, it is technically stated correctly on the document, but for different recalls. So there's information on the recall sheet that actually wouldn't apply to the statewide. And technically it does, because it's like you can only circulate and sign for the district that you vote in. But that's only for district recalls. So, right, like if I can't vote for the person because they're like, I can't vote for the,
I can't recall the band, or I can't recall the Coos Band.
Right.
Live in Bandon.
Right. So you can't participate in a recall that you never could have voted in. If you can vote in the election, you can participate in the recall. But basically that language doesn't belong on a statewide form. And there's some there's another aspect of reading it and understanding it. And I agree with Bill that it is not written in a way, it should be written in layman language.
Yeah.
Why not make it super clear and super easy for people? So it is overly complicated.
Yeah, and then there is a part 2 to this article, which I think is worth reading if you want to scroll down to the paragraph that starts with beyond the issue of circulator instructions. I'm not sure. So
that's what it says, beyond the issue of circulator instructions.
So beyond the issue of circulator instructions, Minix also raised concern about signature verification procedures. Oregon law requires that submitted signatures match those on the file with the state's voter registration system.
Yes.
However, Minix argues that the system itself creates unnecessary obstacles because Oregon uses multiple registration methods. Each one is tied to a different signature record. Some voters register through the Department of Motor Vehicles, producing a signature based on their driver's license. Others register online, resulting in a digital signature, while still others register by submitting a paper form with a handwritten signature. In his view, this patchwork system gives election officials undue discretion to reject signatures and place voters at the risk of being disqualified for reasons beyond their control. And
The
besides that,
thing that's
handwriting
really
changes. Yeah, and handwriting changes naturally over time anyway. As
well,
Samantha
there's not
Cross
just
was
that, Marty.
saying.
This is an ADA type thing. So
Yeah,
one thing, speaking of things that I have learned working, doing this circulator work, there are a lot of people who have gross and fine motor skill challenges. It can be from disease, it can be from injury, and I have seen all of that. Muscular dystrophy, Bell's palsy, what's
Yeah.
and multiple sclerosis.
yeah,
They're
Parkinson's.
degenerative diseases that get worse over time. So a person's signature can change drastically from one election or one registration to another. And
Yeah.
if that signature isn't getting updated and they're throwing out that person's signature, that person is losing their voice to their disease because of a government created structure. Why is so much money funneled into organizations like the ADA and they're not actively pursuing these issues? Like they should be investigating this stuff constantly and like keeping an eye on stuff. And it just seems like things like this, the little person just falls through the cracks everywhere.
By law, the only thing that they need on that petition is the signature of the person who's signing it. Whoever signs it, that's all they need, and everything else is so they know where to locate that person, the address, when they print their name, because nobody can read anyone else's signature. And you are
Yep.
right, there are a lot of problems with that, but I'm not sure. I think it would, because of what you're saying, Brandi. If I agree with you, there probably isn't really a good way and an affordable way to check all those signatures without putting disqualifying a lot of them, because I guarantee you they don't match, just for many of the reasons that we just alluded to here. And so
Yeah.
there's no way the ADA is going to be able to prosecute or go after those, because there's just too damn many of them. So what they need to do is find an easier process other than maybe gathering signatures, so that people can sign off that they have signed a petition. And you could do that, I think, on other levels. That I'm not a genius. I don't know. It just seems like there's other ways of doing it. Or, because if you don't find a way, you're going to get fraud on these petitions. And when you get too much fraud on these petitions, bad initiatives are going to become law because they got on the ballot. I mean, if they can defraud the petition, then they can defraud the vote, right? I mean, that just seems a natural escalation of that thievery. So I don't know what the answer is. But not everyone, but there were a lot of people, like Marty, you saw this too, that they were coming up and they were asking us, do I have to show my driver's license to sign that petition? And of course we would say, well, imagine that. No, you don't. And it really wouldn't matter, because for so many reasons, even if we did compare the signatures, it was probably enough difference that are we really seeing what they're signing? So how are the people who read that know what the hell they're doing? So there has to be a better way.
My signature changes on a daily basis. I've signed I don't know how many of these petition forms. It says sign your name, print your name, and I sign my name, and it's like every single one is slightly different.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, we need some way of proving that somebody who's a registered voter is signing this petition. But at the same time, if they're using these standards to reject you from a petition, well, they're using those exact same flawed standards to reject your ballot. And
Yep.
I've known a lot of people that had their ballot rejected, and they're like, why? And then one thing that Samantha brought up in one of our previous things was like, if your signature is exactly like it is on your driver's license or your election card, then she used to do forensic work, and she's going, if the signature is exact, then we know that one's fake
Yep.
because your signature is not the same. I mean, what I signed 5 minutes ago on a petition is going to be different than the one I sign on the next time because I'm talking to somebody or the wind's blowing or whatever, or my Parkinson's is kicking in, or I haven't had enough caffeine, or I've had too much caffeine, whatever.
So Marty, look at her comment. She just commented. And hi, Samantha. Glad you could join us. And hey, James. Glad you could join us.
Is that the real James McHenry, or am I the real James McHenry?
It's a secret.
I'm actually Henry McJames, but look,
Henry McJames.
But anyway, the county clerks, even in our county, the county clerks have machines that they use for signature verification, and they won't allow us to observe that. We can't see what the machines or what the people that are looking at those machines are doing. So they say, oh, you can observe signature verification. I'm going, no, I can observe the back of a monitor from 6 feet away. What good does that do me? So, I mean, is it automatic signature verification? Is it close enough for engineering? I mean, when I was writing ballot reading software, it's like, how close is this oval to where it should be? And I was doing like percentage error of the placement, saying, okay, this is close enough. I think this is where this oval is filled in. Same thing with signature verification. 30% is an exact match according to Samantha. And it's like, okay, great. So if somebody can get 30% of my signature correct, then they can vote for me. Yay for them.
Mm-hmm. But that's the problem. And then the next question is how do we keep it a secret ballot and yet be able to identify everyone who votes and everyone who signs a petition because of the ability of such the ease of fraud that anyone can portray on the system.
Yeah, I mean, and there are ways to get this done. I mean, it's just signatures is not one of them. I mean, signatures was sort of like the way, remember when you used to when you used a credit card and you had to sign the back of your credit card and then you always had to sign the transaction and, and now it's like you just use your credit card and instead of putting my signature on the back, I say check ID instead of my signature. Like
what's that comment that Steve just put up there? I've wondered that for a decade. If I can go on my bank account and transfer like 15 grand from one account to another, and that's secure, how can we not figure out a way to secure online voting? Because it just kind of seems like they don't want to.
They don't want to secure the elections on purpose. The reason we're doing vote by mail is because it's the easiest way for them to rig the system.
Right.
It has nothing. When I started doing this 6 years ago, I was convinced it was the machines because I'm a computer guy. I used to be a white hat hacker. I used to break into machines all the time. And it was like, yeah, they're so easy to subvert. People are breaking into the machines. And then I was like looking at it going, no, there's an easier way because you'd need a team of hackers to do this. So there's an easier way to do this. You just you pollute the voter rolls such that there's no way to verify if somebody's a true voter or not. Most counties have more than 100% of the, people that are our voting age population that are registered to vote. Scott Pressler's coming to town. He's like, he's the guy that's famous for getting a lot of people to register and getting a lot of people. I'm like, we don't need any help getting people to register. Most counties are at 110%.
We need them to vote. We got to get those people to vote. If we could get 2% to 10%, we'd be kicking ass.
Yeah. How many forensic scientists are in the elections office? They don't. They train people to verify signatures, and I'm like, Okay, how rigorous is this training? How many months or weeks or years do they have to do to be able to verify a signature? And I'm guessing they spend an hour going, here's where you click the button to say okay. Unless there's an R next to their name, and then you click got to reject it.
From what I understand, though, when they reject ballots, you do get a call from, at least here in Coos County. I've
Yeah.
read people saying that they've gotten a call and to fix their ballot or the signature didn't match. So that's heartening.
Yeah, there is curing processes. So I mean, but that's the part of the problem is that if you were doing this in person at a precinct level, these problems wouldn't be there. You just
because
walk
you
into
would
your
be there
precinct.
yourself.
Yeah, you would walk into the precinct. Everybody pretty much knows you. They have a short list of people that are registered in that precinct, and they go, "Hey, Marty, how you doing? Show me your ID. Here's your ballot. Fill it in, put it in a box. The next morning, you know the results." And it's like, that's the way it used to be. It wouldn't be that difficult to go back to that. Hand counting
So
would be nice, but it's not going to happen in,
so here's the cure. So you just found the cure for all of the people who may be out there fooling the system, defrauding the system through the petitions by putting bad initiatives on the ballot, is that you go back to precinct voting like we wanted. And it doesn't matter if they're bad initiatives, because only valid voters would be placing a vote
yeah.
in the election. And that's how you keep the petitions more accurate or more fair or more correct, more honest, I guess I should say, because you got to have more honest elections. Wow, what a concept, huh?
Yeah, I know. There's so many ways to do it right, and they're doing it the way that is probably well, it's not the worst, but it's pretty darn close to the worst. The next worst would be, let's do it all online with your phones. And I'm like, oh my God, no. That's
And that's what I was
there's no way
thinking.
to secure that at all. I mean,
But
every
how
single
is there
person in
not?
China.
That's
Oh,
my
how
question, though. Is it, if I can literally transfer a huge amount of money from one bank to another, why can't we track a vote all the way through to its final destination? Like,
oh, we technically we could, but
Uh,
there's a certain issue with once the ballots the problem what we have right now with vote by mail is that once the ballots come out of the envelope, it's no longer theoretically supposed to be, you're no longer supposed to be able to track who that ballot belonged to. So the only thing they can tell you right now is that they received your ballot. They can't
yeah.
tell you that they actually ever counted your vote. They can only tell you they received your ballot. And the problem is there are QR codes on our ballots, and I'm like, I would bet you, a certain amount of money that that QR code would actually be your ballot ID and your voter ID. But I could
Yeah.
be wrong.
I
I
would
tried
guess.
decoding the QR code, and I came up with a couple of things that were close but not exact. And the way I am is like, if I can't prove it, I'm not going to stipulate it. Like when I said, oh, they printed your party affiliation on the outside of a on the outside of a primary envelope, and they said, oh no, we didn't. I said, I can prove it. You did. And then I went to the elections office, and we sat there, and I said, just give me a random box of envelopes, and they did. And I went through them all, and I had Ron read them, and I said, Ron, just read me the voter ID number. And he read it to me, and I said, okay, the fourth number is going to be 03. He said, you're correct. Moved on. We did 100 of them in a half an hour, and every single one was saying exactly what the party was for that person
That's
in a
not
primary.
surprising. Yeah, that
Yeah.
doesn't surprise me at all. Rain Miller says Scott Pressler is coming here?
Yes,
Question.
he is.
And so maybe we should, because he's not actually coming to the coast, I don't believe, right?
No, I don't think so.
So we
Yeah,
should
we're
do a train, like a Trump train, maybe a Charlie Kirk train. I don't know. over to the I-5.
Yeah. I believe he has a stop in Medford. I think he's got one in Roseburg. We were thinking of doing one on the coast, but the schedule is such that he's going to be kind of going all the way up the I-5 corridor, maybe popping out to like Burns or someplace out in Eastern, and then on his way. And he's going through California, then he's going to go through Oregon, and then he's going to go through Washington. And so a lot of people are trying to organize where would be the best places for him to go. He's bringing a whole Newsmax crew with him. They're going to be filming the whole thing, and so there's going to be a lot. It's happening. Is it? It's not November. Is it November, October, or November? I'd have to go look at my notes.
Cool.
But anyway, and so, yeah, it's going to be in November because they wanted me to be part of the organizing committee. And I said, yeah, November, I'm not even going to be in Bandon. So probably pick somebody else because I'm not going to be much help.
The organizing committee.
I know.
And who's doing this? Who's doing all this?
There's a lot of people involved. Michaela is one of them. Teresa Hamilton is another one. Virginia Hall, and a few other people. There's people all over the state that are getting involved. It's very similar to the folks that are involved in NVBM across the state. There's sort of a Venn diagram where there's a lot of intersection between NVBM and the Scott Pressler tour.
Okay. Well, that ought to be very interesting. And yeah, you're always a rain bird. We don't get snow, but you're a rain bird. You go back to California. Yeah, just don't bring your disease back here with us. Yeah, the progressive disease.
I don't want people getting Californicated here.
Yeah, I don't want to be Californicated. Don't be doing that. That's not nice. We don't do that here in Oregon.
Yeah, a lot of it has to do with, my wife inherited her parents' house in Rancho Palos Verdes, California, and it's like 2 blocks from the grade school she went to. There's a lot of, and so she wants to go there for the winter, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to ask her if it'd be okay if I stayed here full time, because I think if she said, I'm fine without you being around for 4 months, I would go, hold on, what?
Yeah.
So I don't know if I don't know if I want to know the answer to that question. So I just go along with it and go, hey, I'm going to California for a couple of months. See you guys.
Yeah.
I don't feel bad for you. I think you're going to have a good time.
Oh, I normally do. Yeah. But I mean, people are going, oh, you ought to run for clerk. And I'm like, well, I'd have to live here full time for that one. And find somebody that's kind of like me to run for clerk. That would be a great idea. I mean,
find someone like you to run for clerk.
Yeah.
There's an insurmountable task. Yeah, another Marty. I defy anyone to find me a Marty.
Find another one of those. When I fell out of the nest, they broke the mold, and then they made sure to destroy it because it was like, oh, we don't want more of that going around.
Yeah, that's true. I feel the same way. But I'm sorry, Brandi, don't fall asleep on us yet. But
I have the energy level of a 65-year-old woman. Well, I get up early,
Well, and I understand that. A lot of people get up early and they can't make the show. I go to bed, between 8 and 10 myself most of the time. But it was Friday night, and I thought, what the hell? This is probably the best time to do this because most people who are, going to bed, they don't have anything to watch. This is the cool thing to watch. And it comes on after Gutfeld. So I always think, oh, hell, nice. We're giving you something a little extra. Yeah. So, I understand if you doze off there with your mood light, your Shirley Temple.
Yeah.
Oh, I can hang on for
next thing you know, it should be playing Enya in the background, and it'll be like, oh man, sleepy time music there. But speaking of not having anything to watch, I feel so very, very bad for Jimmy Kimmel. No, I don't.
So, okay, all right. So I don't feel bad one iota for him, but here's the thing, and in fact, let me add this to the stage. There were two companies. I can't remember the name of the two companies that
Nexstar and
pulled his
Sinclair.
show. Yeah, they pulled his show, and this was before the FCC got involved. But what ticks me off is I'm one of those. I would personally do away with the FCC. I think you could do it through the free market and get rid of the FCC. I think they got a lot of arbitrary bullshit rules. And I think it was a bad form for them to threaten to shut him down. I personally think that's bad. It's a bad look for the Trump administration, and I'm going to be the first to criticize them. And as I say that, once again, Kimmel is a piece of crap. They should have fired his ass 3 years ago. And it's why he's still on there. It just ticks me off. And Marty, I'd like to hear you. You used to own a radio station, so I want to hear your response.
I used to have FCC licenses, so yeah, I kind of know what this is all about. Well, first off, ABC, Disney, CNN, all those networks, none of them have FCC licenses. The FCC can't do diddly with those because they're networks. They can only go after broadcasters. So the ABC affiliate in Paducah, Kentucky, they could go after them, but they can't go after the network itself because the network itself does not own a license. Now the thing is Sinclair Media and Nexstar Media own like 200 ABC affiliates across the United States. Their affiliates have been complaining about Kimmel for a long time. The
For a long
ratings
time.
have been in the dumpster for a long time. They can't get advertisers, and they are getting a lot of blowback from their, the people that are watching their stations going, take this crap off the air. But they were afraid to do it because ABC and Disney had his back for the longest time. And now that they're losing money hand over fist, they're like, this was basically the straw that broke the camel's back because, Jimmy Kimmel made his horrendous comment basically saying that, that he was killed by a MAGA guy when he knew clearly that that was not the case. But the whole point is the head of Disney went to Kimmel and said, "You're going to have to apologize on air." And he's going, "Hell, I will." And they basically said, "Okay, 68 of our 200 ABC affiliates do not want you anymore. We're putting you on hiatus until you rethink that. Because if you're not going to apologize, we're not going to pay you anymore, period." So he's not gone, but he will not be on any of those ABC affiliates because none of them want him. He got his broadcast, his cume, the number of people actually watching his show is 129,000 people. That's it.
From like it was huge. It was in the millions.
Yes. And now it's 129,000. And you spread that over like just the 200 affiliates that Nexstar and Sinclair have. I mean, we're talking like, a couple hundred people per station, It's like, really? You want to pay, it's like 120, it's 260 people per station if you average it out. And it's like, really? We're paying how much to put this piece of crap on the air? No more.
A lot of money and no more.
This whole conflation of, it was Trump and Carr leaning, FCC leaning on Disney and ABC. No, ABC looked at it and said, we're losing money hand over fist.
No. They said this was from the FCC chair. He said he was threatening to pull their license, and I think that's bad form.
His wife straight up, I think she went on Twitter and posted, "My husband did this," with like a screenshot of a headline.
I don't think he did it. I think they were going to pull him anyway for the very obvious reasons. They gave him he gave the companies no choice. For everything that Marty said, Marty is absolutely right. And they needed this excuse. As soon as the FCC did this, they said, "Oh, thank God the FCC is threatening us. We can get rid of whatever fuck his name is, and we can play the victim. Oh, look, the FCC, they're being mean to us." But the FCC did say that. So the fact is they did want to do that to them, and they did fire him. So both of those could be mutually true, and yet I still say the FCC is wrong in what he said. The FCC.
Well, when the FCC, the thing is the FCC would have to go to each of the 200 individual ABC broadcasters and you know, basically the process for getting your license revoked is a long and arduous one. It's not where they just walk in and go, "Hey, your license is pulled." You know, too bad, so sad.
No, there was a deal between two of the companies, and the FCC had to approve the deal. And they were threatening not to approve the deal. And I can't remember the two companies who were working on a deal. Did you hear that part?
Yeah, that one I'd have to verify. I have no idea because there's mergers going on all the time, and sometimes it's a Federal Trade Commission problem, sometimes it's an FCC problem. I mean, when Bicoastal Media bought out KDOC, they had to get rid of the Reed Sport, or they had to get rid of a station. So they got rid of the Reed Sport station, which they sold for like 17 grand, and they bought KDOC for 300 grand. And I'm like, who's laundering money here? I mean, how is it you sell a station for that little?
Right.
But anyway, the whole
That's
point is
what James said. It does feel like this was an excuse for them to get rid of him.
Oh, it was totally an excuse.
Oh yeah, they needed a good excuse because I'm sure he had a huge contract that basically had exit clauses that were going to cost them hundreds of millions of dollars.
Probably.
And so they need, I mean, because Roseanne Barr had the #1 show on ABC, and ABC canceled her show after one tweet that they didn't like. So
didn't
ABC
they pay up for that? They had to pay for that too, didn't they?
That one I'm not sure of. I just know that everybody was chirping about, oh, you know, poor Jimmy Kimmel, and it's like Roseanne Barr was like just flaming him, and I was like on X. I thought that was funny as heck. You know,
So
there's a whole laundry list of people that have been canceled by this kind of stuff, and yes, bad form for the FCC to say that and Trump to say that because first off, the FCC couldn't do anything about ABC or Disney, the
and you
network.
are correct. Right.
They would have to go after all 200 affiliates, and it's like
It's just so dumb. Like, why couldn't these people just keep their mouth shut?
Well, they could
Like,
have.
why not just say it? Not like, don't say anything. I just don't understand why these people. It's like they have to flap their mouth meat. They just have to like why even? Shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up. Stop
I haven't
talking.
seen anything. I have not seen I have not seen definitive proof that Carr or anybody at the FCC actually went to Nexstar and Sinclair and said, you know, your media is going to be screwed unless you play ball. Not that that hasn't happened in previous administrations. So, you know, if it did happen, so what? It's happened before. I know there's been a huge amount of mergers in the radio and television space that are predicated on which politician are you paying off. So
that's why I think we should get rid of the FCC.
There's got to be something in place to, you know, for frequency allocations alone, there's got to be something in place because basically the people with the most money would come in and just say, I'm just going to broadcast over all these frequencies and there's nothing you can do about it.
There has to be some system. There has to be something else other than because it's been politicized on both sides, depending on who has the administration. You even just said that literally. So how do we change that? That's one of those things and look at the FCC licensing. We had to. Oh, if you got a license, you have to be a woman and you have to be trans and you have to be lesbian and you have to have one leg and. My God, it was on and on and on, and it was like, okay, I'm never
one-legged lesbian albino Eskimo is the only person that's eligible for an FCC license. Did you see I read through. I remember when Gedre got KVZN. And I read through all the paperwork for that and how they were granted the license, and Oregon Public Broadcasting was not. And it was like because she had more diversity. Hit more points on diversity than Oregon Public Broadcasting did. And I'm like, wow, okay. That's how we decide, you know, what's good for the community. And that was back in the days when DEI reigned as king. I think with the new administration and the new FCC chair, we might be going back to common sense rules. And I want to go back to when it was like you could have 2 FMs and, 2 AMs, 2 FMs, and 1 TV station in a market, and that was it. That way you had local broadcasters and local broadcasting, as opposed to right now, every single station in Coos Bay market, including Reedsport, Coquille, Bandon, Myrtle Point, et cetera, all those stations are owned by Bicoastal Media, which is not run even in this state. It's all regurgitated, replicated garbage, except for KDOC, which, how long are they going to be that way?
Yeah.
So,
Well,
Yeah,
I don't
mean,
know.
look
Our
at the
local newspaper is publishing abusive sex offenders' opinion pieces.
yeah. Can you
That
believe
still
crap?
that still blows my mind. Like, have they seen what this guy does to people? And then they printed, I mean, but I feel like that's what our media is right now. They just really don't, there is no such thing as journalistic integrity anymore.
yeah, and then you look at
And
the
then they
TV
wonder why they're
stations in
running.
Coos. Yeah, you look at the TV stations in Coos Bay. Are they doing any local? I mean, I think maybe one of them is doing a little bit of local programming, but all of them are just regurgitators of the national news or what Eugene says or what Medford says.
Yeah. And none of that stuff really matters to us. We're so rural that, man, a
Yeah,
lot of that stuff doesn't even,
I want to know what's going on at the livestock auctions. I want to know what's going on with the tides. I want to know what's going on with the crabbing and the fishing and what's up with the salmon season and hey, how about that forest road and those kind of things. I want to know about
yeah.
If
southern
you want to
coastal
know
Oregon things.
about politics, you should probably tune into this show because we got more on
Mm.
politics than anyone else out there.
It's true.
There's no politics on any radio station locally that can take us. There is nobody. I mean, Gedry stopped doing her YouTube thing, and I don't know if she's on the radio or not. I don't think it's like a 20-foot station. That's about as far as the signal will go, 20 feet.
Well, there's K-Bog, which is like a 10-watt, 10-foot stick in band, and you can pick it up at the post office, and that's about it. And then they have a license for an actually pretty decent, I think it's like a 10,000 watt license, and it's a non-com license, even though it's not below 92 FM. But they're still, they haven't done anything with it. They got a construction permit, which means they have the right to build a station at this frequency, at this antenna height, with this radiating power in this exact location, et cetera, et cetera. But they haven't done anything with it that I know of. And if they don't within a certain amount of time, they lose their license. So we're just
Yeah.
waiting for the clock to run out on that one.
And James McHenry says there's basically no journalism anymore. The 3 newspapers in Coos County all report the same stories except for a couple things. And he's absolutely right, even down to Mary Shamhorn's article, As I See It. And who gives a damn what Mary sees it and how she sees it? Who cares?
Yeah.
I'm tired of hearing that old same regurgitated garbage over and over again. The historical stuff I do appreciate once in a while, but anything she gets as political is really annoying. I don't usually agree with most of her opinion. And so going back to the
piece that she just wrote recently, it was right after Charlie Kirk's assassination, and she published some kind of piece that I just happened to come across, and it was like, intervention needed before this spirals into bloodshed. It was about Commissioner Rod Taylor carrying a fire, like open carrying, which in Coos County is normal. Here's the problem. Mary isn't from Coos County. She is from California and has now come here and is imposing her personal moral standard on this community's ethic. I think that is a form of colonization. And nobody is talking about the complete disregard for native cultures. And I mean native as in the sense of people have been here since this place was bought from the US government, like the original settlers. And you have people coming here from out of the state, and that language of bloodbath, I think was actually the word she used. Yeah. That is so inappropriate given the current political climate, and it's tone deaf. Like, is this woman really so wrapped up in her little circle of people where she's not even self-aware enough to look at her own language and go, wow, that's maybe a little inflammatory. It's just like, get with the times, man.
It is incitement. It is inflammatory. It is, and essentially it's done on purpose. It is meant to
Exactly.
evoke a response, and it's meant to evoke that kind of hatred. This is stochastic terrorism to the nth degree.
Yes.
where
Okay,
they're
so-
Berkeley's doing it too.
So hold on, guys. Let me make something clear. I was talking about Mary Shamhorn,
Yeah.
and you're talking about Mary Gedry.
Yes.
And-
I thought you had mentioned Gedry. I could have
Yeah.
swore I
No,
heard
no.
you say that.
I
No,
did
no.
a few times back, but then I was talking about the mayor of Bandon who writes that article As I See It, and it's printed in 2 different publications here in the county, just regurgitated same story over
Yeah.
again.
No,
And
Gedry's a completely different fish. That's
I'm glad
Mary
we
Shammerhorn has been around here forever. She
Yep.
actually used to write for didn't Bandon have a
the
paper?
Western world.
Yeah. So she was a writer for the Western World and a photographer.
She's
and
been
that's
here
why
she was born here, I believe.
Yeah, so she knows more about
Yeah.
Bandon than most people do. So there's
Right.
Mary Shammerhorn, the current mayor, who's been the mayor for 385 years, and then there's Mary Gedry, who is the one that has all the NGOs and all the the people that she is investigating with her shady private investigator, and and all this kind of stuff, and everything she writes is incendiary and antagonistic, and
Yes.
basically dog whistles for conservatives and Christians.
abusive.
It is.
I mean, you can look through the 26 covert abuse tactics and you can see where they use covert abuse, and it's up to us to point it out. And it is up to us to point out that when someone moves here from outside of our area and brings significant power, money, and influence, and then wields that in a way that disenfranchises the people who were born and raised generationally in our local culture, that is a form of colonization. That is contemporary colonization. And they come with this mentality of, I know what's best for you. I have the solutions. I will bring these rural rednecks up to modern standards. And it is so top down. It is so patriarchal.
Yeah.
It is like, it's just, or maybe not patriarchal is not the right word.
I think it'd be matriarchal in her case, but yeah.
In her case, yeah.
I mean, it's just this kind of very infantilizing, like we don't know what's best for us. And it is a form of, the attempt to destroy this rural culture, attack this rural culture and paint it as less than. It is a form of contemporary colonization. And I think I'm going to write up a whole bit about that and just talk about what's really like the attack on rural culture. Like, all we want is to be left alone. And you can see the extent to which they can't do it. They cannot just leave people alone. They've got to come up in our business and start like messing up whatever we have going on.
So Mary is someone who enjoys belittling the rubes, and I think she has actually called those rubes. And so she, like you said, she came here from California, and ever since she's gotten here, there was a candidate that me and her both supported because he was taking on John Sweet and wanted to focus on getting back federal timberlands being managed, and he'd lost. But the thing was I worked with her long enough to find out she is nutty as a fruitcake, and she's a lefty, but she's a well-written lefty, and so a lot of people follow her, they listen to her, and you know what I mean, she has a way of talking to people. So I would love to see someone challenge her. I don't even waste any more time. I look at her as more of a more intellectual Sal. She could string together a conversation without using.
Yeah, I would not want to be involved in a dynamic with her at all. I really do not want anything to do with people who cannot temper their language. No. I don't want anything to do with them. you know, when it comes to, and I say that on your show, and I think that's it's kind of funny, but you're the type of person, Rob, that if someone, or you, Marty, that if someone comes to you and says, I don't think you should have said that, you will hear them out. You will participate, like you will give people a platform and an opportunity to explain themselves, and you'll treat people with respect when they disagree with you.
Totally.
And I've always been mea culpa kind of guy where it's like,
Yeah.
sometimes I'll say something and somebody goes, well, hey, wait a minute, there's blankety blankety blank, and then they'll show me something and I'm like, wow, okay, I completely got that one wrong. My bad, sorry about
Yeah.
that. Or I was partially right, but here's where I was wrong. I got no
Right.
problem backtracking and saying to myself, saying to people, I used to think this, now I think that because I got more information. And and
Yeah.
that's the whole idea. It's like science. You do something, you try it out, you test it, it works, and then it works for a while, and then you find something that makes it better. It's the same
I,
thing. It's like,
I think
I'll have
that's,
an opinion. And then somebody will go, well, have you thought about it this way? Or have you thought about it that way? Or have you looked at this fact? And I'm like, ooh, no, I had not. Let me change that, and then
yeah.
I'm fine with that. I'm not intractable. I mean,
Mm.
within certain, there are certain things that I'm like, okay, that's just a never do that kind of thing. I
I'm
mean,
glad you're not retractable. That's
I'm
good.
not retractable.
I think
I'm
that's
a
one of the
fixed
things that
mindset
attracted me
kind of
so
guy.
much back toward the right. And I don't think I ever really moved. I think the left just went so far left that they
Oh my God,
drug the
yes.
middle. But one of the things that does appeal to me about people on the right is that they do tend to be oddly. I mean, and this is completely flies in the face of every yeah, like, see, it's okay to say that exactly. And I found so many people on the right who, when you come to them and you say, that was really insensitive, and I did take it personally, and this is why, and they like, yes, as adults, it's our responsibility to manage our emotions, but you should also be able to tell someone close to you if they said something that like is hurtful, and have a communication about that. And I found that people on the right are actually pretty open to having that kind of dialogue where it's kind of okay, let's work this out. Whereas people on the left shut you down. You're wrong. You're taking it personal. And then they go off on tangents about, like, you don't even care about the Palestinians. And you're like, what? Like, they go off the rail. And I've tried this, and I'm telling you, this is like going on about 4 or 5 years now of, it is very difficult, but conversations with people on the right, they'll be
Yeah.
like, well, I disagree with you, but no, left wingers really take it into left field, it seems like. And
Yeah, I mean, we've done enough commissioner meetings where we were trying to argue the points of something that the left did not want to happen. Like when I wanted to put a advisory ballot measure on a couple of ballots ago. I keep doing it, but I know it's never going to go through. And it's basically what NVBM says, which is, do you think the commissioners ought to look into going back to 1 day in person, precinct level voting? And it basically, I wrote a SEL 805 to that effect, and I only needed 2 out of the 3 commissioners to say okay, and then it would go on the ballot. And they had, when somebody leaked that that was going to be at the commissioners meeting, because I only gave them to them on Monday on purpose, but when somebody leaked that that was going to be at the commissioners meeting, they had 50 people show up and just yell at us. I mean, they wouldn't even, I'm like, this doesn't change any laws. It's not going to change how the elections work.
Not a
This
thing.
is not changing anything. It's asking a question of every single voter, which means how democratic can you get?
So
Every single
there
person
were
who's
people
got,
getting up saying it's going to destroy democracy. It's going to
yeah,
destroy democracy if you put this up for a vote. That was hilarious, Marty. That was the best part.
every single person in Coos County gets the opportunity to have an opinion about this. That's
Yeah.
destroying democracy. And I'm like, I'm sorry, that doesn't make any sense at all.
that whole destroy democracy thing is something that also needs to be really side-eyed. And we need
Oh
to
my
have a
God.
conversation about how inappropriate that is.
Yep.
Because listen, if people are to take that seriously, What if people took that seriously? This is genuinely a threat to democracy. Let me ask you guys a very logical question. Take that all the way to the extreme. If something was genuinely, if we faced a real threat to democracy, would we not have an obligation to take up arms?
Correct.
If we faced a real, true, actual threat to real democracy, it would be our obligation to take up arms and fight for our nation. So now you take these people who are using this really inflammatory, divisive rhetoric, and you take a population of people that's maybe not super stable on a bunch of medication, has, a lot of past
gender they are.
instability, and
Yeah.
you start pumping them full of this stuff. What conclusion do they eventually come to?
Right.
Yeah.
We got to
We gotta
fight.
shoot the
We got to
Nazis.
fight. They're
Yeah.
Nazis.
Right? And it to a certain degree, it almost is like, well, they did what you guys told them to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know what to
No,
say
I mean,
about
and
that.
that kind of loops back into the whole stochastic terrorist thing I was talking about,
Yes.
where they've been doing this for the last 10 years, if not longer. Where, I mean, Trump's first administration, he's a threat to democracy,
Yeah.
and it's like, I'm not saying he's a Nazi, but he's a Nazi, and he's going to destroy America. He's going to get us into World War III. He's going to destroy democracy, et cetera, et cetera. And they're doing all this inflammatory rhetoric, and they do it for years and years and years, which basically changes the whole mindset of everybody. And the media is parroting exactly what they're told to say, thanks to the repeal of the Smith-Munt Act. And then you wonder why the nut jobs get a gun and shoot somebody. I mean,
Yeah.
the Republican softball game gets shot up by a crazed Democrat. Why did that happen? And it's like everybody's going, well, it's on both sides. I'm like, not even close.
Well, so statistically it is. Okay, so here's the problem. When you go to look at data, so if you use like ChatGPT or Google search engine and you look up data, you're going to find what is online, and we have a media bias toward the left. So you're going to find a lot more reported incidents that reflect a left-leaning viewpoint. This is a major, because it's a major problem, because now it's affecting our search results. It's affecting the totality of information. And I would go as far as to say that they probably knew that too.
Yep. No, it was all planned. I mean, when, Facebook didn't come out of nowhere. Mark Zuckerberg wouldn't be able to code his way out of a wet paper bag, but the DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Project, I forget what the last A is. They're the ones that came up with the internet. They're the ones that came up with mesh networking so that we could survive a nuclear winter. They came up with a lot of the technology we use. And DARPA is, the driving engine for a lot of things that we use in our everyday life. But they start off as military projects. Well, one thing they were doing was called Life Log. And they were going to be able to, they would link people up and say, okay, here's your list of friends, and here's a list of things you do, and here's a list of things that you like to do, and then you can hook up with friends, and you can report on going out with your friends to do this and fun times and take selfies, and then with your favorite songs and your favorite movies, and what are you doing, and it'll be on your phone, and then we'll be able to track wherever you are and whatever you're doing and whoever you're talking to. And then they said, oh my God, there's no way that people are going to allow the government to do that. So they shut down that project. It was called LifeLog by DARPA. They shut it down. The next day, Facebook started. And what do you do on Facebook? You connect all your friends. You tell people where you're going to eat, what your favorite songs are. It's on your phone, so it tracks everywhere you go. And it's like, yeah, they knew what they were doing. And then Zuckerberg basically got up and said in court, he basically said, yeah, we were censoring people. We did exactly what they told us to do because we were afraid not to.
Yep. It's really wild now seeing people freak out over censorship and, First Amendment over Kimmel. And it's like, I'm sorry, were you guys under a rock for the last 5 years? Because we weren't allowed to say that people with penises are men. So
we weren't allowed to even question the 2020 election.
Well, it's different than cancel culture. They came after people for a different reason than these people are being fired now. Nobody wants the vile things that these people are saying to be part of their company. You don't want that person who says that disgusting thing to be your representative out there. And they're doing this on Facebook. And with the cancel culture, these people weren't saying anything bad. They were saying things like you said, the basic biological answer to the question, yes, boys are boys, girls are girls, and there's a biological reason for that fact. And you would get canceled for stating a fact. These people are cruel sons of bitches, and every business has a right to fire them. My problem is when government says you better fire them or you're in trouble. I don't see that happening to say, but you know what I mean? That's the worry. And it's always something you have to keep an eye out for with every single administration.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
So,
and we have to think about it too from an HR employment standpoint. An employer can't keep an employee on who makes other employees feel unsafe. Like you can't, if an employee espouses joy at someone's death and their coworker goes, wow, I actually really think a lot like that person who was murdered. Yeah. My coworker would want me dead too.
Yep.
I'm sorry, you got to fire that person. Like, you got to get rid of them. Like you don't. Freedom of speech doesn't mean that you're free from consequences.
That's a common sense thing. You don't need HR. In fact, I wish we'd get rid of all HR offices and go back to personnel. Remember when Marge was in personnel? You'd go in there, she'd be smoking a Marlboro cigarette. Yeah, what do you want? Hey, Marge, you made a mistake on my check. Yeah, what's it to you? You know what I mean? That was Marge, and that lady was real. I used to go get my check from her every 2 weeks. It was a real pain in the ass. And so why don't we get rid of HR? Because we need common sense, and people, business owners especially, shouldn't be afraid to fire a dirtbag when a dirtbag does something that dirty as celebrating the death of anyone, but especially someone who lived such a virtuous life. It's just incredibly, wow, I did a rant. Wow, was that my first one? I can't remember.
Yeah, it's a good rant. Keep going. Yeah.
Thank you. I don't know. So any response?
Oh, yeah.
No, yeah, you're completely right. I mean, the thing is, here's what people, and this kind of irritates me, because when people say the First Amendment, they're always talking about the freedom of speech. My bros, the First Amendment covers a whole bunch of other things, namely freedom of assembly. And when you get the freedom of speech and the freedom of assembly, and you put the two together, you get a Supreme Court ruling on freedom of association. Freedom of association is so much.
Yep.
I don't know if I want to say it's more important than freedom of speech, but without freedom of association, freedom of speech becomes tyrannical, right?
Because right not only to associate with somebody, but not to associate with somebody. Right? That's the important thing. It's like you got the freedom of speech, but nobody should be forced to listen to you espouse that speech.
No one can be forced. That's a huge component of it.
Yep.
So are you guys familiar with the let them, let me theory?
Who put this up, by the way, before we go any further? Was that you, Marty? Okay.
Yeah, I was going to put it down, and I'm getting new to this, trying to I want to put a slide up and have you look at it and go, hey, you want to put that up, as opposed to just I clicked on it and it put it up, and I'm like, well, that was not what I was intending to do.
Well, it was kind of a surprise. I was like, okay, who did that? Was that Brandi or was that Marty? I'm pretty sure it was Marty, but I don't know, Brandi. Are you slipping stuff in there, man?
No, not yet. I didn't know I could. I'm gonna mess around with it now.
Mess around with that now.
But yeah, so if you guys are unfamiliar, the Let Them is a book by Mel Robbins, I believe is her name. It's a great book. But the idea is that we all need to kind of step back and let them. But there's a second half of that. It's let me. So let them be a jerk. Let them not return your calls. Let them not, meet your needs and expectations. And then let you get a different friend. Let you find new company. Let you take a different trip. You know what I mean? And so I think that freedom of speech and freedom of association are those left and right hands where let them speak. And now let me remove that person from my life so that I never hear them again.
Marty said in one of his tweets, I don't know if they're called tweets anymore, but in one of his tweets, we'll call them tweets. On one of his tweets, he said, gosh, what was it to the effect of that?
I said freedom of speech does not mean freedom from consequences.
Yeah.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, the whole idea is freedom of speech, the First Amendment and the freedom of speech bit, the freedom of speech in the First Amendment is basically saying the government cannot tell you what to say. They can't come after you for saying something. But freedom of speech does not have anything to do with a private company. Basically, the company can go, you're a psychopath. We need to get you out of here. You can say whatever you want. You can't go into a theater and yell fire and not expect to have consequences. The same thing as you can't start dancing around going, Charlie Kirk is dead, yay ha, and not expect consequences.
Right.
I mean, it's like, the government can't come after you, but that doesn't mean your employer can't show you the door. I mean, I've seen people fired for way less than that.
Yeah. And
so
I always want to encourage people to build bridges where you can and try to repair relationships where you can. But when you realize that someone would rejoice if you died or rejoices because someone who thinks very similar to you was murdered.
Well, look who rejoiced over Kirk, the guy who was stalking you. What do you think's going to happen if something ever happens to you? God forbid.
Of course.
And I'm like, I'm in the same position. Yeah, he'll rejoice. Marty too. He would be making a meme of Marty, and he would be all happy that this guy was dead, and he would still get followers who would sympathize with him, saying, "We deserved it because these people were spreading hate." And as far as I'm concerned, even if we were spreading hate, once again, we go back to that freedom of the First Amendment thing. People are allowed to say whatever they want and whatever they believe. And if we paid the consequences, hopefully we don't have to pay bad consequences if it's correct, if it's right. That should be the balance on us having our own freedom of speech. So if we were really espousing hate, people would be much more angry at us. And they know we're not, because Sal is a crazy psycho who's making up bullshit.
Yeah, I really don't have people give me a hard time at all. He's the only one, and I think it's because he basically has zero, I don't know. There's something really wrong. I don't want to speculate, but there's something really, really wrong. And the problem really is, in his case, it appears that he's basically state-funded harassment and stalking. And I don't know if that's something that's going to get left alone. When we have a government who is enabling people doing what he's doing, and I mean enabling by housing, providing, you know what I mean? This person can't work. I mean, he could if he lived in a community where people would be around him. But at this point, I don't see this person ever being able to get a real job in
the situation. Yeah, he created his own misery because he created the situation where nobody would ever take the liability of hiring him. And he can't say that this has never happened, because Henry Delaney He had a business. And they were sending him kids. And Curtis Buell, it's really no different from what I hear. They're sending him kids as well in the SWAC department. So I don't know what
I have had parents come forward
about.
and tell me that their teenage girls had their GED exams proctored by that man.
Yeek.
So if we're, we're looking at a situation where our government is basically subsidizing this type of behavior, it's harassment and stalking, and it is pretty close to hitting that that threshold, if you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So we're getting close. I spoke to my attorney yesterday, and but it is. When we've got our government subsidizing the lifestyle of people who make it their whole job to stalk and harass any political or community leaders that they politically disagree with. And I mean, using this really inflammatory, violent rhetoric. I don't know, man. Like I think maybe that's something to examine on like a national level, maybe even. Should our government be giving money to people that actively target individuals for abuse? What is that?
That is the Andy No book. Yeah. Unmasked. It's I got it quite a while ago, and it tells the story of who's behind Antifa. They're truly an organization. But to go back to what you're saying and what James McHenry was saying, this is state-funded terrorism, because even if they know that this guy is doing what he's doing, there must be someone out there in the government who knows that he's doing what he's doing, and they should be able to report back to whatever freaking agency is supporting this piece of crap. That agency should stop it. And I know they are, but they're never going to stop it at the agency level, because that's the bureaucratic nonsense that is sabotaging what once used to be a good system.
Yeah.
I think he's finally made enough people upset that it's almost like a whistleblower situation. We just have to figure out how to approach it. It's weird because it's like our tax dollars are feeding into this person who's
they're actually paying for all this to be this way.
There's
a lot of people that get a lot of money in the homeless industrial complex to
make
sure the homeless stay the homeless. And so, because that way they get more money, to get more grants, to get more, do whatever it is they're doing. But a lot of people are getting paid
more.
Same thing with the nut jobs that are walking around the streets, like the Sal's and the rest of the crew, or and all these people that are doing the No Kings protests and all these other protests. There's a lot of paid protesters. I mean, and Andy just published a thing on X earlier today where it was like, and here's why they have these. What's the thing where they give druggies more drugs because it's what's the wording for it? It's the and they always use those kind of comfort words where it's like, this is restorative health.
It's harm mitigation.
Harm mitigation, do no harm.
Harm mitigation. So harm mitigation, the reason that is in place is because they need to make the drug cartels, they need to have a channel for the drug cartels to keep operating. And so by legalizing
drugs, sorry, could you imagine telling that to anyone in 1986? In the future, not only are we not going to be arrested for using meth, no, man, what's going to happen is they're going to give us the meth, and they're going to pay for us a place to live and take care of our health, and give us Narcan, because Narcan hasn't been invented yet. But when it does, they're going to pay for this in the future. And someone was silly.
If you look it up, look up the convictions for people with visa violations.
Mm-hmm.
They're all convicted. I would say there was one or two for human trafficking out of Eugene, And then the rest of them were all like fentanyl smuggling.
Yeah.
So the state literally
Right.
allowed this to happen, allowed it to proliferate, and then is like bankrupted itself and is now trying to charge us more money so they can give more clean needles out.
Wait a minute. The state is not bankrupt. The state is flush with money. The state refuses to spend it and appropriate it to the right places. And no, we're going to spend it on the new equity center so everyone feels better and give everyone some more of them free drugs. I mean, they got to pay for those free drugs somehow, and they got to hire a bureaucrat who's going to administer it, and this is
absolutely,
this is the pyramid scheme that's going on. That too.
Yeah, he was outlining the whole chain of command where it's like, okay, they get a bunch of these Antifa soldiers that are strung out on drugs, and then they have all these places where they can put them, so they get a free place to live, they get free food and board, and they get free drugs, so long as they are part of the, let's firebomb the ICE office in Portland project.
Yeah. So going back to Unmasked. Oh, go ahead.
Can you send me the names of the people in the local Democrat Party that have protests lined up? Because from what I'm understanding, there is a rift right now in the local Democrat Party, and it sounds like there is a faction of Democrats who are absolutely sick of it. I doubt any of them watch the Rob Taylor show, but if any of you happen to catch on, please reach out to me. I want to do the same work that I've been doing for the Democrat Party as I've been doing to help the Republican Party. I don't really care. I just want to see a healthy power balance with sane people who want to be constructive, because these protests are destructive. Make no mistake, there is nothing productive about them. They're not producing anything that makes our community better. And I think there's a bunch of local Democrats who are real sick of it. And for those Democrats who want to start pushing back, Rain, I would like to know who is in those two different, like specifically which people. I was going to reach out and see if I can get some more information and tell the people who've been relaying information to me. I think I'm going to tell them, like, please just tell these Democrats to reach out to me, because I would love to help them organize their party too.
You can go to the county and get a list of all PCPs of the Democrat Party, by the way.
You can do that.
Yeah, and it'll cost you like $5.
And
cool.
And that's the best way to contact the Democrats. And let us know how many PCPs they have. That'd be kind of cool. I don't know. That'd be interesting. Do you know how many they have, Marty?
No.
So I want to get to
you can get that. Just because I said you can get that information doesn't mean I have that information. I got that information about the Republican PCPs a while back because somebody asked me to do that for them, and I said, "Oh yeah, it's the BP 123 report. I can get it for you for a nickel."
Yeah, that sounds about right. So going back to what we were discussing earlier about how divisive the politics has become, and many of us see this more so on the left, that you just can't talk to them anymore. They refuse to communicate, and they refuse to sit down and have a civil disagreement. And Marty, this is going to be something where I want to hear your opinion after we talk about this, because I don't know if you read this article that I wrote just recently about a deal that was made between the president and two of our very large corporations out there, U.S. Steel and Intel. Did you hear what he did recently?
I did not. I mean, you mentioned it briefly when we were standing around waiting for people to show up and give us signatures. But basically you just said, oh, he's like underwriting Intel and U.S. Steel. And I was like, okay. I mean, underwriting in what way? I mean, it's like, is this a tariff thing, or is this actually buying a percentage of the company?
Well, I will read this to you. It says government ownership of private businesses, bad economic policy. And I stand by that. I believe that.
I do too. I don't like it either.
I don't like it either. And I go, the people voted for a president, not a business partner. The Trump administration quietly acquired controlling stakes in two of America's most recognizable corporations. Intel became 10% government owned when Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick announced an $8.9 billion investment. The government purchased 433.3 million shares at $20.47 each, making it Intel's largest single shareholder. U.S. Steel received even more direct government control. The administration secured a golden share arrangement, then this is incredible, giving Trump personal veto power over major business decisions. Nippon Steel cannot close factories or cut salaries without presidential approval. And I write a whole article of that explaining why it's very, very bad. And I want everyone to know I do a comparison between the 1930s Germany policies on corporations and this policy here. But then I absolutely say, no, I'm still a very big Trump supporter. I think Trump's doing a great job in a lot of different areas. I just disagree with him on this one. And what you were saying, that we have a right to disagree and do it civilly. But Marty, I don't know if you knew about this, and I was just wondering what you thought.
Well, okay. One question I have. Okay, 10% of Intel, that's, I don't know. I don't have anything to say one way or the other. 10% is not a controlling interest, and I don't particularly care. So what are they just basically pumping up Intel because Intel's made bad business decisions and they want Intel to move more stuff onshore as opposed to offshoring everything? I mean, because Intel doesn't do a lot of chip fabrication anymore. They got one big honking plant in Arizona, and I think that's about it. And you see people in Oregon getting laid off and a lot of things shutting down. And, because Intel basically, it's most of the computer and chip manufacturing stuff is in Taiwan and is done mostly, I mean, the actual chips are made in China. So, the chips are made in China, the boards are, assembled in Taiwan, and then they're sold as American computers. But Intel, yeah, I don't know what the deal is with that, but 10% doesn't bother me. The other thing is U.S. Steel. I don't, has it been U.S. Steel for, I thought it was, I thought they sold, like Nippon Steel. I thought it was like, it's not an American corporation anymore. So if it's like, because the second sentence says Nippon Steel cannot close factories or cut salaries without presidential approval. So
Right.
basically,
Well, and to be fair, you guys, I mean, just to be fair, Trump had like 6 bankruptcies. Maybe he isn't the dude that should have like the veto power. Just
I'm
saying, like
agreeing with it.
reasonable criticism, I think.
yeah. Well,
Okay,
and
so
of the
here's
6
the article.
bankruptcies, okay, I was going to say
6
of the
is a
6
lot, though.
bankruptcies.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
6 is a lot.
But do you know the difference between a Chapter 7, Chapter 11, and Chapter 13 bankruptcy?
I actually do.
Okay, yeah,
I would
because
say there is no
5 of them.
situation where a bankruptcy is a result of a success.
Well, and look at it from the standpoint of, say, the Atlantic City Casino, which was one of the ones that had the biggest problems, is because they had a lock on the East Coast market for a long time when other casinos got opened in Philadelphia and New York and New Jersey and all over the place. They were not the only ones anymore. And basically, they got sucked. It was like they would have buses and buses and buses of people coming in from Philadelphia with their shower robes and shower slippers, gambling all their money away. And then when they opened up places near Philadelphia, well, nobody was going to Atlantic City anymore.
Oh, I completely understand the entropy of business, but it is a business owner's responsibility to predict and adapt to changing markets. And he failed to do that. And that resulted in a bankruptcy. And so while, yes, like bankruptcies can be totally understandable because of market condition changes, it's still indicative of a leadership failure.
Yeah,
Any way you
but look
slice
at it
it.
this way. Bankruptcies, I was considering going through a bankruptcy with the radio station because of some of the shenanigans that the other owner was doing, basically saying, listen, he got us into a huge problem, and what we need to do is we need to restructure some of our problems here, which is, how am I going to pay you? How am I going to pay the rent? How am I going to pay this loan? We can make it happen. We have the revenue that will make this work. We're just in a temporary situation. A bankruptcy doesn't mean the business goes out of business and
Oh,
all
sure,
the
I
investors
understand.
lose all their money. 5 out of those 6 bankruptcies came out of bankruptcy just fine. The one that failed was the one that was like, it's basically, yeah, okay, maybe you should have guessed that, there was going to be 15 casinos opening up in your jurisdiction, you know, ahead of time. I don't know. And I basically don't care because he lost his money. He lost, some of his investors' money on that one alone.
He
And he's
lost
had
a lot of
way
investors' money. He lost a
but
lot of other people's money.
and he's lost a
Okay,
lot of his money
so
as
all
well,
of
and he's
this.
had a lot of successful businesses as well. But the whole point is that he's not, he's done a lot of really good work, and I don't like the fact that he has presidential veto power over a corporation either. I'm just saying,
No, I think it's a move in the
saying that he's
wrong
had
direction.
bankruptcies. It's like, nah, I'm sorry, that's just that doesn't fall into this equation.
I'm a
Okay,
big believer in smaller government and less government ownership over the means of production because I'm not a communist.
Yeah,
And not, not to say that people who think this is okay are communists, but like for me, that's a really hard line. I want government out of business. And so I just feel like that's a move in the wrong direction. But that's, my
I agree
opinion.
with that. Yeah, that's totally true. I
yeah.
think that government and business, no matter what, because you and I go through the reasons, and you'll love it if you go read that article at the Rob Taylor Report on the blog page. It's
There
really
you go.
incredible. It's really good stuff. I throw in some of Mises. I got some quotes from Mises. That's right, Ludwig von Mises in that article. I've even got some Milton Friedman. Threw some Milton Friedman in there to make
I
the
hate Macy's
argument
to
that
pieces.
no matter how good he is, no matter how bad he is, government's job is not to be a participant in the same market where they are the legal arbiter of the market. That means that you can't have that's like having the referee as one of the batters on one of the teams. You just can't
Yeah.
do it. It's not fair. It's not right. And you need to get out of there. And you never know. This is the other problem. And this is why I threw in the comparison to Germany, 1933 Germany. It's not really, my worry is not really Trump. My worry is what if one of these psycho Mohammed Dami, the commie from New York, gets in charge of the presidency somehow? You know what I mean? And then he's got a voting control of Nippon Steel, which I think you're right. It used to be U.S. Steel. I mean,
Well,
that's
at least we
crazy.
can't have a foreign president, right? Like
Well, no,
there
but I
are
mean, you
some
know what I mean.
safeguards but
Yeah, but
yeah, we could
what if
end up with
other
someone
people?
who's, yeah. Well, you end up with situations where the government mandates that people take an experimental vaccine, and then you find out that DNA really is actually like absorbing into the people's cells, and it's transmitting that one. Oh, I just watched a thing on it, and it's a piece of research that came out. It's for sure giving people cancer. It's a protein or something that turns off our body's natural ability to get rid of to fight cancer. It turns that
Yeah.
off. So you have this explosive cancer growth. And so that has been like the whole big thing that's come out. So now if the government does something like that again, you have even more people who are now subject to government abuse. And that was found to be unconstitutional. And I feel like people that voted for Biden, like, do you have feelings about the fact that they freaking forced people to take an experimental vaccine and that was found to be unconstitutional? Like,
Well, how many people actually voted for Biden, though, is the question. I mean,
I voted
yeah,
for him.
they're
One of the
well,
worst
okay.
mistakes I've ever made. Hands
I was
down. I would remarry all of my ex-husbands before I would vote for Biden again.
Oh
yeah, but I
my
mean,
God. You realize what you just did, Brandy? You know how truthfully honest I am. I'm brutally honest. You just lost a shitload of supporters for saying that you voted for Biden. I'm glad you
I'm
were
not gonna
being honest.
lie.
Yeah, I'm glad you're being honest, but I think, you running for commissioner and being on this show already put you in a controversial category.
Yeah.
But you saying that you voted for Biden,
everybody.
I think
Well,
that
I did. I mean, I thought
yeah,
that
I'm
I'll
glad
be
you
honest
were
with people,
honest,
and
right?
I'll tell
Yeah.
people, like, I came from the left.
That's
Like,
cool.
I can't just pretend that no. Like 2020 broke me. And after voting for Biden, I spent 4 years getting angrier and angrier and more disgusted. And yeah, I learned a lesson the hard way. So if people want to hold it against me, I've got a finger for them. Like,
Yeah, that's cool.
what do
and
you
I
do?
understand
You
that.
know?
What do you do? But go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I'm a big fan of people that were a part of the walk away movement. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that because a lot of people were, I mean, come on, you got all of, 99% of the media doing 24/7, Biden good, you know, Orange man bad. Biden makes no mistakes. He's right on his game. He's looking better than ever. No, there's nothing wrong with the vaccines. No, mRNA vaccines will not screw up your DNA and they won't give you cancer. But, and so forth and so on. All these lies and lies upon lies upon lies. Basically, it brainwashed everybody into the whole idea that they got to a point where they were lied to so many times they didn't understand the difference between lies and the truth anymore. That's what Orwell was all about in 1984. Where it's like news. What was it? Newspeak or whatever, where it's like you have to hold two things in your head that are completely opposite to each other, and then try to make sense of that contradictory.
I should probably clarify that I did not vote for Biden in this. No, it was Harris that ran. Okay, never mind. I just want to make it very. Was it? It was Kamala that ran, right?
Yeah. Well,
because Biden dropped out.
He was convinced to drop out because
right. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute.
I want to make it very clear that I did learn my lesson.
Okay.
So, did you vote for Trump in the last election?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you win. Okay. So you win back people by saying that there. See how you did that? You voted for Trump. So you just redeemed yourself on my show.
There you
blessings,
go.
Everyone. Blessings, everyone. But that's the kind of audience and viewer, or not viewership, but constituency that you'll have to deal with when you're out there. And someone else asked a very tough question. And this is why I like Ivan. No holds barred. I would never want to have to go toe to toe to this guy. He would kill you, man. This guy is just he's right straight to the point, no mincing words, and this is brutal. How would you respond to that?
Not as many as your mom.
Oh my God! You made it too.
I'm messing with you. I'm playing, but no, I'm really not going to dive into my personal life. And
everybody,
I was just being kind of facetious anyway. But
yeah,
there's not very many. I'll put it that way.
Everybody's loving you because you're a cool interviewee. Everybody's hating you because you voted for Biden. Everybody's loving you because you admitted to it. Everybody's like, and then it's like, and then you say that. And I'm like, oh man, it's a roller coaster.
Where are we at again?
Anyway, the reason I said the whole, like, I respect people that are actually willing to do the walk away thing because we're going to see a lot more of it. And it's up to us to say, hey, you used to be a Democrat. You used to be a libtard, and come on over to our side. We might not agree on everything, but you know what? We are the people that want people on our side that do think differently, that have ideas. And that's the kind of people we want. You don't have to all lockstep and go, Trump's fantastic. He's like the best guy ever. La, la, la. I don't, no. As a matter of fact, I'd be a little put off if people were like that all the time. I'm more of a, if you got great ideas and you got an opinion and you're willing to work in our direction, welcome to the party, pal. Welcome to the party.
So
that's the way we've got to be.
I think we should vote for Ivan Hawker or nominate him for chair of the Republican Party.
That's a good idea.
That would be great. I mean, he wouldn't put up with any crap. That would be perfect.
Do you think he would are you being serious? I don't know.
Yeah.
Ivan.
Oh, yeah.
Ivan
is a city councilor. He's a city councilor in Myrtle Point. And his son is a city councilor. And so Ivan says, calm down now. Calm
Well,
down.
he got us all
Fools.
excited.
I got so excited. It was so excited. And Rain Miller says, so Rain Miller's all excited at her house too. She says,
think he just
she agrees with
voted in.
this.
I second the motion.
I think this would be a great idea. And so we'll just send that over to Michael, that we already have one contender for his position when we get all our people in there. Not our people, when we get the people who want to participate in the party, who want to be PCPs, and go register, folks. Now's the time. We got how many did you count? 33?
Yeah, it was like 33 or 34, depending on whether you count the write-in or not.
Okay, I count the write-in. 34. We're badass. We got 34 people on there. We've been really pushing it. If you want to be a PCP, if you're watching this video from anywhere else in the United States, you need to go and figure out how to be a PCP in your county. And that would be really important right now, because we all over this nation need to get back to the basics of voting and make it a special day. We only had 24% turnout in the last election.
Do better than that.
I think we could do better than that. And you know how you'd make it better? You tell people, no, we're going to do this. We're going to make you go down to your precinct polling place, and we're going to make you vote in person. And people are going to change the way they think, and they're going to go down there and make that decision and be responsible for themselves, because that's what a true constitutional republic is. It's a people deciding who's going to represent them in the laws that which they are going to live by. Just a thought.
Exactly.
I'm ranting again. I'm ranting.
Amen. And the nice
Hey
thing
guys,
is
I gotta go to bed. I'm getting up really early to hunt in the morning, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up.
Well, you have a good time.
Okay. Well,
all right. You guys have a wonderful night.
Do you want to do a closing argument or anything? That's like,
nah.
Nah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for having me on, guys. If I don't talk to you before then, I'll see you on Wednesday.
Hey, it was fun. You take care.
Right. Oh, by the
way,
guys. Are you going to be, while you're still here, are you going to be joining Rob when he does? Are you going to be doing the Best Western on Saturday evening?
No. I had something come up, and something personal come up. And so, I'm going to have problems the next couple of weekends, but it's something I can't get out of. And
because we were initially going to do Saturday from 10 to 2, and then we said, oh, they're going to have their no Kings protest at the same time. That seems like, because we wanted to do the Coos Bay Fun Fest thing, and get signatures, and we said, yeah, we don't want to get sucked into a melee where all these no Kings people show up and give us a hard time. So we said, oh, we'll do it in the evening. And then I remembered, well, I'm announcing the band and football game that night, so I can't do it. So, and it's like, and then Rob was like, well, I'll do it. And now it's like, now Rob can't do it. But so that means we'll see you on Wednesday at the Napa. There we go. I keep thinking it's Ace Hardware. It's across from Ace. So we'll see you Wednesday at the Ace Hardware, and we'll see you. I don't know if you're going to be there on Thursday at the Best Western, but we're going to be doing that pretty much every week, Rob and I. So 10 to 2 Wednesday at Napa, and 10 to 2 Thursday.
I had somebody ask me, I just had somebody message me and ask me today where you guys were going to be. And I had answered them. Remember, Rob, I asked you where you guys are going to be. And then I messaged the guy back, and now I can't find the message, because I think I told him you were going to be there at the Best Western.
I am. I'm going to be at the Best Western. Yep.
But not till Thursday.
Not till Thursday.
Yeah. So Wednesday.
I want to make sure I gave him the right date.
I'm pretty sure you did.
Wednesday Bandon, Thursday Coos Bay.
Yep.
Oh, because you already knew that you wouldn't be on Saturday, so you wouldn't have given me that date.
Nope.
Okay. First I heard of it, but there we go.
Okay, we're good to go then.
All right.
All right,
you
guys.
You have a fun hunting trip, okay?
All right. Bye, everybody.
Good night.
Good night. And she's out of here. Let's see.
So we were going to talk about Todd Vaughn a little bit earlier.
Yeah. His deposition.
We haven't brought that one up. I've got the news review.
Can I, before you do that, we got a whole bunch of comments going back to Ivan Hawker
Okay.
And he says, I don't have time for bullshit. We get straight to the point. I stand on business. See, that's why I support Ivan Hawker for chair. That's the kind of guy. But this was pretty cool. Jeremy Miller seems to be a supporter. Ivan for chairman, and Ivan is saying you guys are killing him. Well, something's got to kill you.
I
But
like
if
some of I like some of the other comments down here where it's like, okay, kicking ass
kicking
and
ass and going our party,
And now
that would
Ivan's
be
going-
cool.
Yeah, and now Ivan's going. So is she hunting for a new ex? Dun 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 dun.
Wow, Ivan, really? Ouch,
Yeah. And
man.
unfortunately, she's not here to defend herself, or at least say
Oh,
something snarky in
wow.
return.
You do know she's from New York. She was going to come back with something brutal.
She would have something good for that one. Yeah.
I wouldn't mess with her, man. She's pretty tough. All right, so Rain Miller, what's happening Wednesday? Well, on Wednesday we're going to be at Napa from 10 to 2. We're going to try to be at Napa and at Best Western's parking lot on Wednesday and Thursday. Thursday in Coos Bay and Wednesday in Bandon. And I think we need to switch it up at least once a week. I mean, in a couple of weeks, and do something more in the evening, because there's some people who can't get to us during the day.
Yeah. I mean, I'm all fine with that. I mean, it's just like have something consistent for a couple of weeks and then say, okay,
Yeah.
we're going to change it up and do 3 to 7. I don't want to be out after dark because I don't want to try doing that. I mean, it's the tent is called easy up. It's not easy down. It's easy up.
No, I don't want to go past 7 either. I'm getting
easy
old.
down means I'm probably going to lose a finger because I'm going to have it on the wrong side of whatever contraption uses.
I'm talking about the people who work 8 to 5 who can't get away.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I think the extra 2 hours would give them, because that's still 4 hours, and I can only take 4 hours of that because I'm
only
repeating
good
myself.
for 4. Yeah.
Yep, I agree with you.
I'm a
And
crotchety old man. I can't do more than 4 hours standing around. I can only be entertaining and signing signature thinging for 4 hours, and after that, I'm like, yeah, I don't give a shit. Sign it or don't.
that guy who pulled up with the radio on his electric
his own radio station and like 85,000 watts of speaker power, and I'm like, I didn't know if he was there to protest us or help us out. I was just either way. I was just like, okay. And then he drove away, and there was like a cat perched on the steering wheel, and I'm like, and Toonces is driving. This is great. I mean, just when you thought it couldn't get any weirder, Toonces driving. Yikes.
So Phil Taylor says, unfortunately, a few people have asked, how do you feel about Power King tires? I
have no idea what that means.
I'm not getting the relation. And Jeremy says, good night. Good night, Jeremy. I guess we're not appealing enough. I guess,
Well, you might be saying good night to Brandi, and we just didn't put it up quick enough.
There you go. Maybe that was it. Maybe that was it.
And then I like his excuse. Hey, she did a your mama joke, so I had to say something.
Oh, that is true. See, you'll get a mama joke from a girl who's been in New York for a while. Yeah, they'll do a few mama jokes. Yeah.
Oh man, yo mama.
I love those zingers. Yeah. But so we'll be out there. Let me see, go through the list. Yeah, I had it already up. Add to the stage. There we go. Get rid of this. Remove that. And then add this again. There we go. So we already went over this. All right. We said that Wednesday at Napa parking lot. And remember, Napa and Best Western here, they have nothing to do with this. This is their parking lot. They're allowing us to do this. And at the Best Western parking lot in Coos Bay, Thursday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Yeah. So it's across the street from Wells Fargo and kitty corner from Tioga, the big honkin' Tioga building.
The big honkin' Tioga building. And not only do I recommend, if you want to check out some of my latest articles, I've been working pretty diligently on a few things that were near and dear to my heart. And some of the things that have inspired me lately is I got to do an interview with Kathleen Marquardt. And if any of you are interested, I recommend you go back on my YouTube channel or on my Rumble channel and check out this interview or the one I did with Jeremy Lehman. That one right there was just absolutely incredible. I enjoyed talking to him, and I was amazed how much this man knows. He never wanted to be part of fighting the wind turbines, just kind of like us. I mean, you didn't want to be you didn't want to be tossing at the windmills.
I had no intention. I had no intention on doing election integrity. I
Yeah.
mean, I went to one CRL. I was a nav. I was like, I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I hate them all. And then I went to a CRL meeting, and they were like, "Oh, the 2020 election was bad. We want to get ballot images. We want to get cast vote records. We want to figure out what went on." And I'm like, "Okay, do you guys know how to do that?" "Well, not really." "Do you know what to do once you get it?" "Well, not really." I'm like, "Well, I used to be a computer guy, so maybe I'll help you out." And then got into the weeds on that one and found out how just bad it was. And the next thing you know, it's like, okay, I'm coming off the bench. Let's start doing this. And then, oh, it's like, let's do wind turbines too. And I'm like, yeah, let's drive around the state a lot and deal with bureaucrats. That's fun.
So that's now what I've seen is that people are seeing how corrupt their local Republican Party has become. I mean, you saw what David Brock Smith did. I mean, you thought there were good explanations for him doing what he seemed to be doing. I mean, he couldn't be really screwing us over. He couldn't be taking money from a guy who made a fortune in China. No, he couldn't be doing that. But yet you saw it, it, and it turned your eyes, and I think there's a lot of things, what's happening in the party now that has turned a lot of people's eyes, and that's why we got such involvement. That's why people are getting involved.
That was the wake up moment. I mean, it was part of the CRL stuff, and some of it was the way that I kind of thought David Brock Smith was corrupt from the get go when I did the Orastar stuff. But I said, if we're doing a radio interview with a guy, the way we got to couch it so that we can talk to him is say, there might be a good reason for you getting $125,000 from a managing director from a Chinese hedge fund, but can you explain it? If we went directly at him, it was going to turn into a shouting match, and it turned into a shouting match. So. But then when he went after you and got you thrown off the air, and he went after Diane, and then he brought in the big guns to, go at, and then the whole thing where he just kept going after people. I'm like, well, screw that. Nobody pushes baby into the corner. Let's keep fighting. We need to get our party back. We need to get rid of the rhinos. We need to blow these guys up. It's not going to happen immediately. But the nice thing is when I get pissed, I will just keep digging, and I will just keep working, because it's like, yeah, I can't fix this week, this month, or maybe even this year, but that doesn't mean I'm going to stop or slow down. It just means it's taken me longer than I wish it would take, period.
The long game. We're playing the long game, but we're going to have a lot of fun in between then and now. I mean, it's whether, because I could actually see Michael folding and actually making us appointed PCPs, or not making us, but taking a vote from the committee to see if they will allow us to be PCPs, because that's what has to happen according to the bylaws.
Yep.
Sounds cool. And that's, once we get that, then we can start doing a lot of other stuff. But until then, I don't know what other people have been working on, but we'll just keep working on the same thing, those parallel campaigns where we just keep busy with getting those petition signatures, getting more PCP registered. If you want a PCP form and you want to fill it out, I can turn it in for you. I got a couple of forms I got to turn in on top of the 34 forms that have already been turned in. That's pretty cool.
And we might have 8. We might have 8 on deck already that haven't been turned in yet. And they don't even need to get a form from you. They can go to the Secretary of State website. There is the Secretary of State website has you can fill in the form to be a PCP. And all you have to do is put in your name, your address, in your county, and then, a signature. But yeah, I always love signing things online where you get you're moving your mouse around trying to do your signature. It's like, yeah, I'm sure it looks great. But anyway, so you just need your name and your address and your county, and then it will be sent to the county. So if you don't know what precinct you're in, don't worry about it. Lark will figure it out. So
Lark's pretty good about that.
yeah. No, I really like Lark. I think she does a bang up job. I mean, I really feel bad for who she works for and the situation she's put in, but super good at what she does.
So Ivan says Brainerd has to cave. Rod Shitling can only hold him up for so long before he buckles, and I would agree with that. Yeah. It's only a matter of time. It's sad that someone has to have another person there for them to make a decision. And he would signal to Rod, and Rod decided to shut down the meeting, the meetings in May and the meetings in July. It wasn't even Brainerd. Rod goes, shut down the meeting, and Brainerd makes the motion and does it. He doesn't even take a vote, and they're supposed to take a vote. It's pretty pathetic. But Ivan, we need you there. We need you to hopefully you and a lot of other people are going to take the positions in the executive board. Rain Miller says, it seems to me that we really need to get people to vote and ensure they're registered. Rod is the puppeteer. Yeah, I would agree. Rod is the one of the puppeteers, but yeah, he does a great job of that.
Well, and wasn't he the chairman previously? And didn't they have, and then didn't they put in that rule that the previous chairman gets to vote on crap as well? And I'm like, really? Isn't that?
He was the previous chair. Yes, they have that role. It's like having the old mayor still on the city council when they vote for a new mayor. It's a way to capture the party. But he was the chair. I think there was a time when Ron Wiggins was the chair, and that was right after Rod had served 2 years. I think Rod had served 2 different times, if I remember. It's been so long. It all runs together, Marty. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, that's okay. But I mean, it seems kind of bizarre that at one point he was a chair and now he's like a chair pro tem where he gets to say, I mean, it's like, that'd be like Trump having like Biden sitting in the Oval Office going, hey, Mr. Incognizant or hey, Mr. P Pants, what do you think I ought to do about this?
I can only imagine it. That's what they should do after Trump gets out of the White House. They should redo The Odd Couple. Remember who was it? Klugman and Tony Randall. Yeah, they do The Odd Couple with Donald Trump and Joe Biden. I mean, Joe Biden would have to. He has no money, and that would be the greatest thing. You got this old timers. Old man living with Donald Trump and shit. That would be hilarious. The Odd Couple.
Yeah. The Odd Couple or the Sunshine Boys. Remember when Walter Matthau and
it's not as good. It's not as good.
Yeah,
I think
the Odd Couple. The Odd Couple was great. It was a long running series, and I really liked Klugman and Tony Randall were just the perfect combo for that. The sports writer and the stuffy guy.
There's got to be a meme out there. I'm willing to bet somebody's already made the meme of them doing that. This is Ivan even agrees with us.
And he was asked to leave the White House. Oh, he was asked to step down as presidential candidate so Kamala could take over. He took his pans with him.
Oh, that was such a funny show, man. That was hilarious. Then Klugman went on to he played the mortician.
Yeah, Quincy Jones.
Quincy Jones.
No, not Quincy Jones. Quincy MD.
Quincy MD. Jones. That's a whole other dude. He's a black guy.
Yeah, that's a guy that produces music and produced Michael Jackson and most
completely
of
wrong guy.
Yeah,
that's okay.
Quincy Jones, medical examiner, with a jazz beat, man.
With a jazz beat. Yeah. So okay. You got trees. We got trees. We got 3H tree service. They can take out those trees.
All righty. So it looks like we're doing a wrap up here. So yeah, 3H tree service. If you got some trees that are looming over your house and threatening your cars, your livestock, or your children, please think of the children. You need to call 3H tree service, because they can drop trees like nobody's business, and they're licensed, and they've, they're like the greatest guys ever for taking down trees. So, do you have the loud rock and roll tree dropping video for us here?
I was just looking for that. It's almost like you read my mind, which would have been a very short trip. Yeah, I got it. I got it somewhere right. All right, that was 3H tree service, and
yeah, I was just getting into my air drumming. Woo!
Air drumming. I hope that's one of those generic songs that I don't get in trouble for.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it was okay. No, nobody's complained so far, but 3H tree service.
Yeah, when we redid the intro for your show, I was like, well, I want to do something like Rage Against the Machine, because we can't do Bad to the Bone. But we'll do something like Rage Against the Machine. But we'll do royalty free, so we don't have to worry about getting kicked off of YouTube or getting charged a buttload of money for using unlicensed music or using music we should have licensed on a podcast.
That is always the worry. Anytime I play a 30, that's why I only, in so many things, I only do a 30-second clip, just so I can say, oh, really? It was just a news report. I was reporting it.
Yeah. I was just talking about this song. I wasn't playing the whole thing. It's fair use, damn it. Fair use.
Fair use. Leave me alone. But if you want more than fair use, 541-294-1800 for all that fair use, more than fair use of getting those trees out of your yard. Those trees that are a liability. They got branches hanging over your house, over your eaves, maybe over your car or your neighbor's car. You don't want to have to pay for that. So you need to call 3H Tree Service. Talk to Matt Holman, and he'll take care of that. Lickety split. He'll leave you a beautiful view, and you won't even know they were there because they clean up so well after themselves. 541-294-1800, and they are licensed, and he's a licensed arborist, I believe. Yes, he is. And Matt is one of the precinct committee people who registered. Did you know that?
Yeah. No, I saw that because he was at that meeting and grabbed one of those 105 forms. So yeah,
he rocks, man. He rocks.
Oh yeah.
So I forgot to play a video that I wanted you to see, and I don't know if Samantha's still on the line. She would have found this interesting, but this kind of validates what we were saying about vote by mail and how there's problems with it. I didn't show you this video, but this is from the county fair here in Coos County. Let me play this. Okay, we're standing at the Coos County Fair, and I'm speaking with, your name is?
Kyle Middleton.
Kyle Middleton, and we're getting signatures for the End Vote by Mail petition. And Kyle was just relaying a story to me of his recent experience with voting by mail. Tell us what happened.
So I go to college over in Ontario, which I'm from around this area, so it's about 7 hours away. My mother had mailed me my ballot. I had filled it out, and then I had sent it off that Tuesday. So it was more than enough in time. And then we kept looking at it. On the voter registration thing, it never appeared anything. And then about December-ish, we got my ballot back in the mail, and it said that the return address was not available.
That is incredible that we're doing this and that you would come up, because that is exactly what we're saying, that there are problems with vote by mail.
Yep.
Did you get to vote? Did you go back and get your ballot?
I was not able to, no.
So because of this delay in the vote by mail system, would you have preferred to have been able to just do it one day, go down, show your ID, and...
Oh, 100% have been a lot easier on me and my family, for sure.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. You too.
And that was the young man who voted for the first time for Donald Trump and didn't get his ballot there. Yeah, vote didn't count. And that was the same day when what's her name? The lady who used to be married to Bill Bradbury, Katie Eyman. Katie Eyman came walking by, and I told her about our petition, and she says, I don't know why you're getting rid of vote by mail or would want to, because it's such a good system. And I said, no, Katie. And I told her the story about that young man missing out on his very first vote because he thought that vote by mail was a secure way to do it. And it proves our point, chain of custody. You don't know where that ballot's going. You don't know who got it.
We have more people registered to vote in the state of Oregon than there are people that are of voting age in the state of Oregon. Like, a lot of our counties have over 100% registered voters, which is ridiculous. And the problem is that they send out ballots to every single one of those. And while we're standing at the booth getting signatures, about 1 out of every 6 person is like, yeah, I get like multiple ballots from people that don't even live in my house. And we get lots of stories like that. I mean, a couple of elections ago, the United States Postal Service admitted that they lost 955 ballots. That's 955 people that didn't get the chance to vote. I happened to be standing in line to turn in my ballot at the elections office, and there was 5 or 6 people standing around. I said, hey, am I cutting in line? And they said, no. We're waiting to get a replacement ballot because we never got one. And I said, today is election day. And they're going, yeah, we never got a ballot. And I was like, were they one of the 955 that didn't get a ballot? How do we know? But the whole point is there's no chain of custody. It's, there's so many ways that you can subvert it. Like I said, I used to think it was the machines. No, I'm completely convinced now that it is dirty voter rolls and ballots going, because let's put it this way. United States Postal Service delivers all our ballots. United States Postal Service has 2 unions. Both of those unions always, donate to the Democrats. So how is it that the people that are delivering our ballots are all, donating to Democrats?
Giving to Democrats, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, well, and then the other problem is so if they know, since they sort every piece of mail, if they know this is a non-existent person, what's to keep them from just routing it to some of their NGO buddies to fill out the ballots the way they need to be filled out? Like with Todd Vaughn, where it's like he was leading by 200 and now all of a sudden he loses by 200 after 8 days of blackout on reporting. It's like, okay, well, they had to go manufacture some votes. I'm not saying they did, but I'm saying they could. So is this sort of like the allegedly, I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I'm not defaming anybody. I'm just saying if you wanted to cheat, that's one way you could do it.
Yep. And once again, I'm not saying anyone's cheating. This is all allegedly. Man, there's a lot of proof out there. A lot of evidence that points to voter cheating, and I think it should be seen. And Ivan says I had ballot mailed back to me claiming my signature didn't match what they had on file. That same year, I received 2 ballots, Democrat and Republican. Well, congratulations. Welcome to the party. You just get in on that double voting. You and Thomas Tuttle can vote twice. It don't matter. Nobody cares. Hell yeah, man. It's get in on the grift. That's right. Get in on the grift, man. And Ivan says, That was in 2020 elections. The 2020 elections were crazy, man. That was there was a lot of crazy shit going on in the 2020 elections. Samantha Frost says, yep, every single 70-year-old and over voted in the 2020 election during COVID. Is that true? I don't know if that's true.
According to the Dr. Frank data, yes. Basically, we plotted the registered voters by age range, and then how many of them returned ballots by age range. And everybody over 70, 100% of the people over 70 returned ballots.
That's impossible.
Well, yes, I agree.
Somebody's lying.
Just because it's statistically impossible doesn't give you any, you can't go into court and say, well, it's statistically impossible. They're going to go, no, you got to prove it. And how do I prove it? Because I can't tie the votes to the actual people.
Well, first you got to prove you have standing. Remember, that's
right. Well, that too.
We don't care if you're a voter. We don't care if you're a data guy. You don't have any standing.
Yeah. I mean, I was, saying that to somebody the other day, and I said, yeah, but you have all that evidence. And I said, yeah, I have a lot of evidence. I have gobs of evidence. But the problem is one, who's going to take that case? And two, what judge in his right mind is going to take that case? That will be that will be the last case that judge ever does. Because essentially they will drum him out of the business if he's lucky. So,
Samantha says in the whole state. Do you think it's the whole state? The whole state couldn't have done it, or was it just the county? The whole state of Oregon, every single 70-year-old and over voted in the 2020 election. Is that the entire state?
Most of the counties. I can't remember the exact number, but it was a high percentage of counties where there was, in statistics, it's like the R value was like 0.98, which means
I remember that now. Yeah. Now I'm remembering it. They just replayed that at the Gathering of Eagles.
Oh, neato.
Yeah. And yeah, this is statistically impossible. There's no way they could be doing this. Ivan says, I'm not sure there's a union out there that backs the Republican Party. I think there was one who backed Trump, wasn't there?
I thought there was, and I forget which one it was, but yeah, he does make a point though. I mean, it seems like every single union is like, SEIU is really interesting in that they pump a lot of money into Democrats in Oregon, and then the Oregon legislature basically said, oh, and by the way, now you can actually go on strike and we'll still pay you. And I'm like, so there you go. There's a nice kickback for you, buddy.
And okay. Rain Miller, she goes back to the ballot that she received. Mine too, signature issue. Yeah, there was a lot of problems with that, Rain. Samantha hits what we were just went to is police department union, the unions. I always have to make this clear. I see a complete distinction between public and private unions. Private unions I don't give a damn about because they have every right to freedom of association as everyone else. Public unions I have a little bit of a problem with because they're voting for their bosses. I don't like that. That's kind of the problem I have with Trump owning 10% of anything is that those are union workers at Intel. Those are union workers for U.S. Steel. They're voting for their bosses, man. That's bullshit.
Yeah. Well, and then you look at, for instance, it's not just Trump doing this. This has been going on for a long time.
Yeah.
Like Obama dumped $760 million into Solyndra, and everybody was saying they're going to go bankrupt in a minute.
Yep, and that was a scam. That was a total scam. Yeah, Obama made bucks off of that.
Yeah, but there's a lot of instances where, like Biden's brother, bought into, they basically got the government to buy into a certain healthcare provider. And then the healthcare provider went out of business. But the Bidens made billions. But anyway. Anyway,
well, it was a coinkydink. It was a coinkydink.
just a coincidence. You're just doing conspiracy theories. Where's your tinfoil hat, you idiot? You're an idiot. But anyway.
Yep. Wow. I don't know where we were going with any of this. This is just crazy stuff. I'm telling you.
Something about 3H. Oh, yeah. To wrap up with the why do government employees need a union in the first place? I understand unions for private sector businesses because your bosses are going to try to screw you, so therefore your unions are going to try to mitigate the how much the workers make versus how much the bosses make to keep the company in business and keep the workers happy and all that good stuff. The whole point of government is to protect the little people. If you're protecting the little people, why do you need a union to protect the little people for the people that are protecting the little people? But anyway.
I think with all the laws that government has to protect the employee, that the unions, they're unnecessary because look at how much they have raised the minimum wage. Look how many protections the employee has. There's almost no need for unions. Why would you need, other than saying, I need more money, I need more money. And I have seen some go on strike recently, and I don't know how successful they are, but I don't know. It just seems like there's a lot of people who
and I remember reading back in the early days when it was like, the steel factories, you were making like a nickel an hour, and you had to like walk through molten lava to do stuff, and it's like, and they would just go ahead and do it because if they lost employees, they didn't care. There's a lot of people that wanted the job anyway. But now that we're to the point where there's so many government regulations, you got to wonder, is some of this stuff just in place because of inertia, because it's always been there, and there's a lot of people that get paid really well to be there, and it's just it seems like another layer of corruption. But I don't want to get too far into it because I've never been in a union, so I don't know.
I've never been in a union either, but I've always been on the other side of that. I always remember, this is my favorite union story. Like I said, I've never really been involved with any unions. But I was an assistant or a supervisor at an optical shop, and they came in and wanted to talk to the employees, this union from back east. And I swear, I think it was from New Jersey. And these guys came in with their fancy suits and stuff. And it was New Mexico, and it was like 104 degrees outside. I don't know what the hell they were thinking. And they had to, our business out the back door, you could see the whole freaking Southwest Valley. You could see nothing but desert as far as you could go. And I had a few banditos working for me. And the union guys were trying to organize them. And the banditos, I guess, had a problem with the union. And they went outside. The banditos were standing there and told the union guys, it'd be really bad if you guys got lost out in the desert. And I remember it was Roger. Roger leaned over and told this short little union guy that. And the guy's like, I think we better be leaving now. It's like, wow, I've never seen a biker gang kick out a union. This was pretty impressive. I wish I could have filmed this, but I didn't want to die.
Yeah.
So
do the Hells Angels have a union?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
And who would be their enforcers if they did?
But I was in management. It didn't matter to me. I didn't want them to unionize because then, I used to tell them, you will keep asking for more and more money. We'll fire you and hire a bunch of Mexicans. And that's literally what happened years later. And they hired a bunch of people from not just Mexico, but South America, paid them nothing. And eventually their jobs were gone because it got automated to the point where no humans were needed. They could make glasses just by the machines.
And now back to your regularly scheduled commercials to end up the show. Tom and Gigs. You got a car that needs a repair? Do you want to find a competent mechanic that can fix stuff right the first time? Do you need like accessories for your automobile? Well, hey, we've got a slide on the screen that tells you everything you need to know.
Oh, shoot. I can't find it. There it is. Hey, look at that.
Tom and Gigs. And they have electronic fun stuff like a RC surfboard and RC mini RT cars, four-wheel drive even. Look at all those RC cars and trucks. And it's the clipless body mounting waterproof electronics.
I'm not even sure what the hell that is, but I want one now.
Well, I think it's basically you can snap the body on so you don't have to like have tools.
Is that what that is? Clipless
I would
body
guess.
waterproof. You're absolutely right. That's what that is. It's really cool when they pop them suckers off and you get to see the inside. It's like the Terminator, but for cars. That's what they're going to have next, Eventually, that AI is just going to create the Terminator and we're all going to die, but it starts with this.
Yeah. I mean, when people are saying, "Oh, we have all this AI stuff going on." I'm like, I know there are younger people than but I mean, somebody has to have watched the Terminator movies and to understand, to not understand this is a bad idea. We don't want we don't want autonomous like moving, drones and cars and trucks and and next thing you know they get sentient and then they want their own union and they all just park by the side of the road going, "Screw you humans, I'm not going anywhere."
They all get addicted to I don't know, not fentanyl, maybe Pennzoil. I don't know. They got Pennzoil
electricity. Yeah, hook me up to that 400-volt DC, man. Hook me up. Give me the good charge.
You'll see a Terminator over there sticking his finger in one of those EV car chargers. Yeah, I'm getting a charge. So this all starts with this little car. So right now, if you want to enjoy what we can with these little mechanical treats, we can go over to Tom and Gigs. They got the RC stuff. Continue, Marty, please.
Yeah, you are now looking at the potential end of the world. But in the meantime, go to Tom and Gigs, lift kits and performance accessories. And they're out in what, the Empire area?
They are in the Empire neighborhood. They're in wow, I'd have to go all the way back, but they're right behind the car wash in the Empire neighborhood. And great people. And that guy's really good at finding any of the parts that you need. If you look behind him, it's incredible how many parts they have. They got all that stuff hanging up all around the shop. They got planes. They got helicopters.
They got helicopters. They got tannerite. So you can have your automated truck deliver tannerite to whatever location you like.
I like that.
You got to be 18. You got to be 18. Otherwise, you can't buy it. Oh,
and as Ivan says, it's on Shoneman. Yes, it's on Shoneman. I think it's
good somebody was reading the slides.
I'm glad someone was reading the slides. Yeah. And let's see, herbal choices. And of course, tonight I had actually I switched to Fresca, but I had some Mary Jane coffee.
Wow. I didn't even know they made Fresca anymore.
I kind of crushed the can because you can't recycle the Mary Jones coffee, so I crushed it.
Why is that? Why can't you recycle? It's a can.
I don't know. It's a perfectly. I think it has to do with the lid. It's got a weird lid on it. And I don't know, man.
They just throw them into a big thing and melt them. Who cares? But anyway, herbal choices. You can buy tannerite at 18, but you got to be 21 to buy your favorite cannabis products at Herbal Choices. And I'm sure they'll check ID as well. So,
they do. They do. They're serious about that shit.
No, of course. Their license depends on us. They got 5 convenient locations: Charleston, Coos Bay, Bandon, North Bend, and Reedsport. I drive by the Bandon one every day. Well, not every day, but every day I go to Bandon anyway.
You smell the weed?
Sometimes, yes. Or not so much for the store, but from people that are driving away from the store with their windows open. So,
I get it. Totally get it. You shouldn't be doing that, folks. You shouldn't be doing that. I was going to make a slide for abstinence, purity, sobriety. I couldn't figure out what I would do to make those the slide. Maybe I'll work it. I don't know. So, but because I want to promote both sides of it. You know what I mean? I don't want to promote just.
So we got to have the Puritan store where if you believe in abstinence, sobriety, and piety, come to the Puritan store at 666 Devil Lane, 7 Devils Road.
7 Devils Road. But seriously, though, I think that there's a lack of representation for that side, because I knew a lot of people, guys and chicks alike. They saved themselves for marriage. They followed the Christian path, and I think that's a beautiful thing. And I think we should promote that. And I'm not sure how, as someone who's not a Christian, can really promote that in earnest, because don't expect me to practice sobriety and purity. She's as pure as the driven slush.
Yeah, the ship has sailed on that one. Oh,
yeah. But yet I want people who are like that to feel safe and secure being pure and sober and abstaining and not partaking in the things I partake in.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, sure, why not? I would be the worst spokesman, even though I have created commercials, in my long tenured past and doing radio and TV commercials. I've made a lot of commercials for products that I can't stand. So, I didn't know anything about them, but I knew how to make commercials. So maybe you could do the same thing. I know nothing about piety, purity, or sobriety, or abstinence, but feel safe in that it's an okay thing for you to do. I could never do it, but if you want to do it, go right ahead.
You've never sobered up completely and abstained from everything for a short period of time?
Oh, I used to take once in a while. I would take a month off of drinking just to see who was still in control.
Interesting. No, I've gone a year a couple of times, a year or longer, just not drinking, not smoking pot.
Yeah,
and it's a good journey. It's like you sober up for quite a while, and then at some point you go, well, I like being high, I'm going back to that.
Yeah, I would just do an arbitrary, and I'd basically set it to be a month, and I was like, okay, for the month of March I'm not drinking at all. So, and
April
would show up and I'm like, it's my birthday, I'm drinking, screw you guys.
I'm drinking. And so, but and I don't drink a lot. No one could accuse me of being an alcoholic. So it rarely happens. Ivan says, been sober for 15 plus years. And so that's the thing I want to encourage, Ivan, that even if you are someone who's partaking in anything right now, you can always abstain and you can try sobriety, and there is nothing wrong with it. And I don't want anyone to think that I'm telling you, oh, you got to do this. You got to be like us. You got to drink, because I don't want you to. I want you guys to be yourself. And that's what I'm preaching. And this is why, this is the kind of thing, Charlie Kirk, I really loved about him, is that he walked the walk. He was a very religious man. He wasn't someone who was really exploiting, didn't seem to you didn't see videos or pictures of him doing anything risque. He always walked the walk and talked the talk. He always seemed like a good kid. He seemed like a Boy Scout, right? An Eagle Scout.
Yeah. It wasn't like he'd turn off the microphone and go, whew, okay, time for some hookers and blow. Get the bitches over here. Let's go.
That's not him. And so there are a lot of people out there who are like that. They preach one thing and they leave another style. I've never been like that. I'm totally the opposite. I'm telling you, hey, I'm not a role model, and I've done things, and I'm not going to tell you I regret it, because I had a lot of fun doing those things. And if it's not right for you, don't do it. And that's part of getting along in a free country. People are going to make bad choices.
So to wrap it up, you're basically saying you need a counterpoint to the, you're always pushing herbal choices, and you want a counterpoint to say, by the way, if you don't want to do herbal choices, or you don't want to do any drinking, or you want to do abstinence, that's okay too.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. And let me take this off the screen, because I want to take this a little further, because Ivan says went from 2/5 a day to 0 cold turkey.
Oh, that's brutal.
And that's brutal, but that's this is the truth.
Yeah.
That's the best way to do it. I don't care what anyone says. You can't go to Dr. Drew and cure yourself. You can't go to the Betty Ford Clinic and pay $30,000. It's probably a lot more now. It's probably about $100,000 a month to get cured. It's a racket. You want to stop drugs, stop drugs. You want to stop drinking, stop drinking. Don't load the pipe this morning. And, when I talk about when I quit, I just quit. You know what I mean? And that's how you do it. And then you can make that decision further down the road. The first day is the hardest day. The second week is a little bit better. And by the time you get a month down the road, it's like, all right, I can do this. I can do this for a while. I don't know. And Ivan says, to each their own. That's how I look at it. Yep. And he says, you have to own it and run with it. All right, let me add this back to the stage. And what a wild commercial for Herbal Choices. And off Oregon's Firearms Federation. No compromise firearm group here in Oregon because they kick ass. Kevin Starrett kicks ass. And if you need to find out more, go to OregonFirearms.org. And they're a great group. They're a very good group. I want to skip a couple here and just go straight to Neighborhood Watch, Coos County Neighborhood Watch. So you guys got to check out this organization. It's not an organization. It's a group on Facebook. So it's really not an organization, but they act like an organization. They're actively out there trying to stop crime. They're like superheroes, except they don't wear their underwear on the outside of their clothes. Well, maybe some of them do.
That might be the scare factor right there. It's like, I was going to do some crime in this neighborhood, but there's a bunch of crazy guys running around with their underwear on the outside. So let's go someplace safer.
I was a peeping Tom, but then this guy with underwear on the outside. Yeah. Wow.
Put on some clothes. You know what you look like? God.
There could be children around. Oh, geez. So this was
think of the children.
Think of the children. So the Coos County Neighborhood Watch. This was so cool. This is what I should have done. I should have got those pictures of that Samuel Adams was putting out of a crime and actual progress, and he was stopping the crime. It was great. He had pictures of the car and the house where the criminal was, and he was giving point by point description of the cops busting this guy, and it was all played out in live time right there on Coos County Neighborhood Watch. It was the coolest freaking thing. Oh, well, this is cool. Abandon social media. Delete your accounts. Well, except for the Rob Taylor report. You don't want to delete that one. That's a good one.
Well, does somebody have social media addiction issues? Is that what they're saying?
I don't know if you do have social. That is probably the number one addiction right now is social media.
Probably.
Join us in the analog renaissance. Boy, I couldn't see that. My glasses are. Yeah, there you go. Renaissance.
Yeah. Join us in the analog renaissance.
Oh, let's
follow
see.
our faxed zine. What?
Wow, we're getting
faxed. Why not? Faxed is using digital transmission. Let's go with just plain old paper flyers.
It is after 11. They do come out after 11. It's
Well, we are wrapping up the show. We got to the Neighborhood Watch portion of our program.
So Ivan agrees with Rui J. And social media is going to be a huge problem. Down the road, kids are going to be totally addicted to social media.
Short attention span theater. I mean, it's like, what do you mean you have to concentrate for more than 15 seconds? What do you mean you're not going to get your result or your gratification in less than a minute? You know how that's just debilitating. So yeah, Rougie Hick 6666. Find us. We are the analog resistance.
Why are you? But he's on social media to tell us about the analog resistance. I'm not sure if I understand that.
Yeah. You are being monitored. Well, I hope somebody's watching this stinking show.
You'll be judged, probably.
Yeah, we've always been judged. You can't walk down the street, but that could be a
I
song.
agree, Ivan.
They
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
walk down the street without their phone plastered to their face.
yeah.
Do I
That's pretty
diddy
cool.
diddy da
Wow,
diddy do.
we are free from digital delulu. I had some delulu not too long ago. That's
Yeah.
my problem. I had too much delulu.
Delulu. Yeah, the delulu that you do so well.
The analog renaissance is the last hope of free speech. Oh yeah, okay, we'll go with that.
It's not for
Message
you. It's
It's
for
not
your
for you.
viewers.
It's for your viewers.
So
Okay,
he's basically
I'm sorry.
telling all our viewers to get off of all the social media.
Yeah,
where
get
we're
off of this
broadcasting.
social media. Find us. Join us. You got to join them. You got to join this.
Yeah.
Sounds like whatever that is
Rougie
loaded up
XXX.
Delulu. Yeah. This guy's got
with a
Delulu.
chuck full of delulu. Yeah, as Ivan says.
Wow, that was fun. I'm sorry. I got to get. I got to
I
get
love
going.
the delulu that you do so well.
I love the Delulu that you do so well. Citizen Council, Coos County.
Citizen Council. I've heard of those guys.
I had too much Delulu. Coos County Citizen Council.
So
Check them out every Wednesday. Chris Castleman on Wednesday.
He didn't do his show this Wednesday, did he? Because I think he said, I'm not doing the show this Wednesday. I'm really swamped with other things. But pretty much every Wednesday, it's Coos County Citizen Council. It's Chris Castleman, the vice chairman for the Coos County Republican Committee. But since he's not a PCP, he can't vote for crap. That doesn't make any sense at all. But anyway.
And Ivan says, he says, sounds like whoever that is loaded of Delulu. Too much Delulu for you, Razui.
Hex.
Yeah.
So analog resistance, are we going to have to start listening to dial-up modem noises again?
I think we should go back to, sending smoke signals and pigeon carrier pigeons. That's it.
Tin cans and strings, baby. Tin cans and strings. You can't go wrong. You know exactly who you're talking to because they're on the other end of the string.
They're on the other end. But see, people will get those other strings and they will tap into your string.
Yeah.
It's sneaky that way. That's why you got to watch out for the people like Rejuju. Hey, XXXXX.
Yeah.
So
read it backwards is XXXHGRU. So there we go. Maybe we were just doing it wrong.
we might have. It could be. It's definitely not phonetic. But I had some people scheduled and then they canceled, and it was really sad because there were some really good people scheduled, and so now I'm working on getting them back, but I'm working on other people, and that's the worst thing about doing these damn shows. It's almost like you have to plan 3 or 4 weeks ahead, record them, and then wait another week before you can actually play it. It's just, I don't know. Scheduling is a problem. I'm bitching.
Yeah. No, it's just it's a kind of a difficult thing because of, how this medium works as far as like, let's say StreamYard, where you kind of have to be in the same place at the same time to do it and record it. And you can't just do it like a Jitsi meeting or a Zoom meeting kind of thing. Or, occasionally I would do radio interviews with people that couldn't be where I was. So I would say, okay, here are the questions I'm going to ask you. And you record your responses. And then I'd take the two and edit them together. That sounded like I was actually talking to the guy at the time. But that's more of an annoyance than anything else.
Well, sir, so I don't know so it leads me into letting you know, I don't know what's going to happen next week. We will see. I may get a good interview this weekend. It just all depends. Okay. And if not, then I will be back Monday. And of course we'll both be back next week on the Rant. And I don't know who we're going to get on here. I think I need to look back at the old rants and see who we've had on.
I mean, we were gonna, Todd Vaughn might have been an idea today, and then we're gonna talk about it, and we didn't get around to it. But
We should talk to him next week. That would be a good one. Maybe him and Michaela on next week would be a good idea, because then they could talk about the deposition.
Yeah. And I was reading the article in the News Review, and I'm like going, you know, the attorney for Douglas County, DiLorenzo, he's doing the same talking points that they always do. It's like, oh, we can't give you the clear ballot stuff, and
Yeah.
oh, you know, and I'm like, and this is the same BS. And so I have so much information that they can use to just say, and here's how you can prove it's BS. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, and once again, DiLorenzo, I can't remember when we were discussing this, or if we were
No,
discussing.
we were on chat when you said, "Hey, you up for a rant?" And I said, "Oh yeah."
Yeah.
And then I said, "Oh, did you see the thing about, you know, the News Review article about DiLorenzo doing the same blah blah blah?" And he's like, "Wasn't he the guy that defended Coos County against Bureau of Land Management or something?"
No, he was totally, and
Yeah.
he actually did a kick-ass job. I thought he was going to succeed, but then he failed in the end. So maybe he's not such a good lawyer. But he did sue the city of Portland when people who had wheelchairs couldn't get down the street because the homeless were camping on the sidewalks. So it became an ADA, Americans Disability Act, claim against the city for allowing the homeless people to block up the sidewalks, which I thought was genius. And when that happened, anytime one of the bums out here blocks up the path that was specifically made for people who are in wheelchairs, I call the police and tell them, well, they're blocking the path. That's going to be an ADA lawsuit. And
Immediately show up.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's like, you know,
earlier this evening when Brandi was talking about the signature verification and the, you know, and the we ought to take the ADA route to say signature verification is a bunch of BS because it's violating ADA laws.
I thought that was a great idea.
Yeah, I love that idea. So I will put that on my list of things I'll probably never get around to doing. So
and by the way, Rain Miller wants to remind everyone, Chris Castleman is still not a PCP, and they refuse to make him a PCP, and that's part of the riff. And Ivan says he's the vice chair, not a PCP. Thank you, Ivan. We appreciate that, and I appreciate Ivan, Samantha, and all you others, especially Rehab. And I will see you next time. And
exactly.
I'll talk to you later, man. And until next time, carry on, Coos County. Carry on. We're out.